This presentation has been produced for exclusive use by agents of the Holy Inquisition for educational and instructional purposes. If you are not a sanctioned agent of the Inquisition, it is your solemn duty to cease viewing this recording immediately and report how you came into possession of this material to your local authorities. Failure to do so will be met with severe consequences, as prescribed by the divine laws of the Imperium of Man. The secrets contained within this presentation are meant to safeguard humanity and preserve the sanctity of the God Emperor's Imperium. Unauthorized access to this information is punishable by death. Remember, ignorance is a virtue and curiosity leads to damnation.
Friends, welcome to Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago. This is the follow-up to the character and creation of the campaign episode. We are going to be doing 3 one-shots featuring a prologue of our characters. So, let's jump right into it. On the world of Macaria, the sky is a brilliant blue, as the sun has just barely risen. Palatial marble structures and all sorts of imperial building material is scattered everywhere. Enormous Romanesque temples centered around a giant statue, many of Lord Solar Macarius. Many more are being built in the process. You can see as our hero, our main character, Holly Van der Velt, walks past the screen. She is walking past a still in the process statue being built of the latest living saint, Don Latania. Why don't you tell us what Holly Van der Velt looks like as she walks past us?
All right, so Holly is clearly wearing the robes of the Sisterhood, but not one of the major orders. So primarily just a under the robes is just a black pants, red half skirt, or open at the front, corseted waist with a habit. So her hair's covered, although she sort of has those endearing wisps of hair that sort of stick out, not very dedicated to making sure the habit covers everything as such. So the occasional few blonde wisps that come out. She has this staff, not actually for walking, doesn't actually provide any mechanical benefit for walking, but it's just more of a staff of office, which is just a plain ornate staff with a fleur-de-lis symbol in gold at the top. I would say probably carries an air of confidence, but it's I don't know, it's undeserved confidence, if that makes any sense. I don't know how well you could pick that up about somebody. But yeah, somebody who's more confident in themselves than they probably have any right to be.
I've met plenty of people whose dads own a car dealership. Yeah. You find yourself in the unfortunate position of walking in the same direction as 2 Sisters Superior wearing the ceramite power armor of the Sororitas. One of them is chanting as she goes, saying prayers to the God Emperor. The other is quietly complaining to her about the filth in the streets here of Macaria. She looks down and she sees wrappers from discarded food containers, like a blanket that has been blown away by the wind, filth, human excrement, and other bodily fluids run in the street here. And we see that as the sun is rising ever so slightly, ever so slowly, it begins to cast a shadow over her face as the 2 stop, and the one who is complaining puts a hand on her bolter at her side, looking at gathered human, from her point of view, one would say refuse, but perhaps from your point of view, or from the camera's point of view, a teeming mass of human refugees and pilgrims. You know at this time that with the Noctis Eterna, the night that has fallen over half of the Imperium, pilgrims that have come to Shrine Worlds cannot go home. There is but one path that is treaded between these two parts of the Imperium, and it is so dangerous that billions of humans are stranded now in the primary side of the Imperium. And Shrine Worlds, like Macaria, get the worst of it. A civilized world, a world that could handle many refugees, but not like this. These people have gathered outside the shrines. They live here now in the streets of Macaria. And you can remember a time when you were much younger, still in the Progena, when there were not quite so many people. And certainly they would never be so bold as to occupy a temple to Lord Solar Macarius. You do hear someone from the nearby crowd speak up and say, yes, I hear you, sister. I think perhaps have you considered that your words betray an arrogance against the design of the God Emperor? And she fully unholsters her bolter and doesn't point it at the crowd yet, but is clearly ready to. And she says, who said that? Stand and speak. Speak your piece. As a man stands up from the crowd. He is using what is half of a pole staff, the other half is a chainsword, to stand up. He wears a sort of red kilt, and he has a sash across his body that says, only in death can we find repentance. And it has a seal at the end of it with a prayer on it. May I address you, sister? I request a dialogue. And she rolls her eyes and says, Ratterus militia. She looks around and she sees you walking past and she says, sister, you will engage this man in his dialogue.
Very well, Sister Superior. Approach the man.
So in the background, as you begin approaching this man, many hundreds of eyes have turned in kneeling prayer. They still mutter prayers, as does the second Sororitas, to the God Emperor. Prayers asking for peace, asking for victory over all things non-human, asking for protection. Some prayers are just asking to get through the day. As you approach this man, he says, might I know your name, honored sister?
Sister Holly Van der Velt, but Sister Holly is fine, sir.
Of
and
course.
Yours? May I ask yours?
I am Redemptor Sion. I ask of you this. Your sister superior here claims that we are a blight upon this temple, that we have no purpose in being here. I would ask this. By the decree passive, the ecclesiarchy may not have men in arms. Is this not a sort of paradox, a joke to say that only women can carry arms? Clearly an attempt to circumvent the will of the High Lords of Terra. Do I not have as much, if not more, right to be here than her?
So, out of interest, now that I'm doing this engagement, have the other sisters started to leave, or are they actually staying and watching?
No, I mean, listen, the first sister with the bolt gun is, if this guy says anything heretical, she's clearly just going to start spraying him and the crowd down. But it is beneath her to address a Praetorus militia.
Good sir. I think that you picked on a common misconception, the fact that the Sisters of Battle only exist because the decree passive says only men under arms, and they are, of course, not men. That is a common fallacy told that is not true in the annals of the ecclesiarchy. The Sebastian Thor's decree was not that there would never be men at arms in the church. It would be that soldiers would never pay homage or duty to a member of the church. No man or woman who held office within the ecclesiarchy would command military forces, which is exactly why the Adeptus Sororitas, despite being part of the ecclesiarchy, don't report to priests. We report to the Holy Ordos through the chain of canoness. But by the same token, if you and your men are simply soldiers of faith and are not under the edicts or orders of a priest or a member of the ecclesiarchy, then would that not mean that you are devout citizens and not a militia, so to speak? I mean, Thor understood that the church still needed defense, which is why the Holy Ordos were formed and the Ordo Hereticus was allowed to have the Sisters of Battle. The church still needs to defend its faith.
Okay. I would like you to make a, is it rapport?
Rapport test.
Fellowship
Okay.
test. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think one of my talents helps me here because it's the first time I've met this guy, and I have a thing where...
well, see, this test isn't for him. It's actually for the Sister Superior.
Yeah.
Your words are to keep her from killing everyone.
Okay. So it says here that you exude confidence and command. The first time you interact with a group, you need to make a challenging presence or rapport test. On a success, you gain +1 influence with that group until the end of the mission.
Oh.
Yeah. So shall I make that test first?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so I will use
Feels
that.
weird to do a report to a rapport, but...
No. I'm going to use presence to do a report.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We'll get all the rolls in then. A impressive failure, it says here.
Okay, no worries. There you go. So that's not going to give me any benefit.
Would you like to use some fate, perhaps?
You know what? I have a bit of fate, so I might actually do it.
You're a fated individual, one might say.
Yeah, that is exactly right. All right, so let's try that presence test again. Okay, so it's a marginal success, which is still a success. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Which means I actually have 2 influence with the Adeptus Ministorum. So I'll do my rapport test now. Whatever I get here, I add 2 degrees of success to. Oh, so I have 6 degrees of success.
You rolled a 1, which is an automatic critical.
Yeah.
The sister puts her bolter back into its holster, and she looks over you and says, "You said your name was Holly Van der Velt, yes?"
Yes, Superior.
I will keep an eye on you, Holly Van der Velt. Your faith is not found waning here today. Today, these people are your responsibility. See to it that they clean up after themselves.
I'll get this place looking shipshape in no time.
She and her sister begin to leave. As they do, the church bells across this entire slice of time zone all begin ringing 7 a.m. at the same time, precisely. As that happens, thousands of black birds begin crossing the sky overhead in sort of sinuous, snake-like patterns that begins raining bird shit down over the temple and onto the gathered people here who don't react to it overall. They simply continue praying. And the Redemptor Sion says, "Your words are powerful. Militia like myself gather, sister, when it is time for us to be redeemed, when there is a need for violence against the enemies of the God Emperor. We would not be here if we were not needed, but I will consider your words carefully in my prayers."
Let me give you some other words to consider. Let's not forget that work brings salvation. And this whole place is looking pretty messy right now. So if you and your followers were looking for here to find redemption and salvation, maybe a little bit of work might help get you a bit closer.
He slams his staff onto the ground twice. I'm just going to let that one ride. And he says, work brings salvation. And everyone begins standing up and screaming, work brings salvation, as they begin using their robes to clean bird shit off of the ground and begin cleaning up wrappers and taking the tents and sort of, it's not like they're completely destroying their own tents, but they're moving them so they can't be seen from the main street.
Yep. Fantastic. I produce productive people. Middle management success.
You were on your way to meet with your immediate superior, Hope Gracewell, in her office here on Macaria. She said that she has a new assignment for you, which was all that the scribbled piece of paper brought to you by a young girl had written on it.
All right. Once I'm happy that that work is happening, I will head off to continue that.
You enter into what is half an administration building and half a church. Everywhere you go, if someone is not doing paperwork, they are praying.
I feel like on a shrine world, every building is half church.
Yes, but yes, that's pretty much.
This is half outhouse, half church. So
the father sits next to you and takes your confession while you're doing your business. Yes. Wow, James, we really broke rule 1 in the prologue episode.
Wait, hey, the shit was already on the street before we got this far.
That's true. Palatine Hope Gracewell's office is Spartan. If there was any sort of decoration to it, it would be that it has sort of, like those metal shelves with like multiple levels. Each of the holders at each level are skulls, and like the paper holder or like paperweight on her desk is a skull. She's got a little servo skull that flies around her office. Her shoulder armor, skulls. Just a lot of skulls. She really likes them. He rises and gestures for you to sit, and he says, Holly.
Palatine.
Please, sit down.
Sit down.
I've been looking over reports about your progress to arrange a bloodline union between Barnum and Hovler and Amity Breach. It seems like for over 2 years you've failed to get any sort of headway between these two individuals.
I don't know if that's necessarily an accurate. I mean, there is still negotiations going on. If we had failed, then negotiations would be over.
Negotiations are over. I received word last night. I remember when you were a novitiate, looking over your Scala, seeing all of the promising members in it. The people that are assigned to my mission do not hope for anything more than martyrdom. There will be no shrines to the mission of Originem Purito. I would not say that we are any less faithful than any. But I ask you this, Holly. Is your faith as strong as ceramite power armor? What miracles have you performed?
I wasn't aware that I needed to perform miracles in my first year. I do my duty and practice my faith as expected. And I don't necessarily understand the analogy to power armor. I mean, it's not like our clients are shooting at me.
Yes, it's not like our clients are shooting at you. The scars of war are still fresh here on Macaria since the false cardinal's uprising. I am considering sending you away. The repairs to Macarius have been expensive, and we require funding. I would ask if you might be interested in a new, longer-term challenge that will test the limits of your skills.
A challenge still within the Order of Hat of Glass, though. Yes, like still doing. I'm not leaving the Sisterhood. Is that not what you're saying, right?
This is a famulous mission.
Okay, all right. Then command me as necessary, please.
The Palatine stands and quarter turns away from you to stare out the window over Macaria and says, "It is not unusual for sisters."
Sorry, should I be looking at what you're looking at, or do you want me to stay here? I wasn't sure you went to the window because there's something out there that I should see.
I think you should always be looking at the great works of the God Emperor.
All right, I'll get up and go stand beside her then.
Okay. Now the two of you both look very impressive. And passively looking. Okay, so we just made this Disney, I guess.
No, I'm clearly like looking around trying to define what is it that what is something I should be focusing on. But
as you're looking out the window, it is a rare opportunity to see the parts of Macaria that the Adepta Sororita and the Ecclesiarchy are indeed trying to hide. It has not been many years since a rogue cardinal declared that the local psyker population were a gift from the God Emperor, and that he himself should be given leave to lead a new crusade and command over Macaria. It then turned out that he was an agent of chaos and had become a psyker himself. And of course, he was purged. Many of his files, even his name, was redacted from the record. But the battle across Macaria left many scars which were quickly hidden, but not quickly fixed. And the impressive view from the top of the capital does reveal places, fire damage, buildings that are being restored, large amounts of troops, Imperial Guard, Janissaries, but also Sisters Sororitas in power armor walking around in daylight on a shrine world is somewhat unusual. Why would they need that power armor? Is the threat not gone already?
if I may, Palatine, you asked before and you compared my faith to armor, but does this not show us that more lives can be changed with a quill than with a bolter? Is our order no less valid for this?
I believe in the mission of the Famulus, but the sisters who are assigned here have a certain reputation. I'm certain you know of it.
Indeed.
You do not need to be skilled with a bolter to do the works of the God Emperor, but there is a certain theatrics that come with it that perhaps make it easier to identify with someone who is going out in a blaze than with someone who has simply spent a year negotiating a marriage contract, despite that contract moving worlds. As I was saying before you came to this window, it is not unusual for sisters to leave the order while maintaining their faith. A thought that you should reflect upon. I would have you travel to the Iron Archipelago. It is clear that remote discussions are far too slow. Here is a series of bloodlines, and we've drawn up some reasonable negotiation tactics for you. Information about your target. Chaderius Darkwind, a rogue trader that is based out of the Iron Archipelago. We are hoping to arrange for his marriage to the scion of another rogue trader line, Clemency Clouds the Crema the Fourth.
Okay. Is there? I assume I'll have a chance to review her information before I arrive.
Yes, of course. I expect your trip will take some months. We have full profiles of both involved and their family history going back 6 generations.
And this is the only match that we'd accept?
She turns away from the window and moves to sit back down at her desk. As I said before, Holly, we are in desperate need of funding and materials. Chaderius Darkwind is the extremely wealthy master of a rogue trader house. Clemency Cowles Lacrima IV is the union of a rogue trader house and a planetary governess. It would behoove us to take our titheful portion from such a union, which we anticipate as being extremely beneficial. The security and defense of Macaria may rely on this particular marriage.
Cows. I feel like I've read that name in the annals of our order in the past. Is that? Maybe I'll have to go back to the books again.
She is the daughter of rogue trader Pierre Cowles and his 4th wife. There is one complication.
At least there's only one.
Clemency has a unusual genetic trait.
Well, like a really long pinky finger, or
her grandfather was Cadian.
So
the
purple eyes. Okay, all right. I can work with that. It's exotic.
Sure. After the fall of Cadia, some have seen it as a ill omen.
Well,
it sounds as if you're already ready to negotiate on this point, which brings me joy. I am heartened by your preparedness.
Is there anything else I need to know?
We expect that Chaderius Darkwind will be unwilling to meet with a sister of the Adepta Sororitas Famulis directly. We have arranged for you to meet with his chamberlain, Rablian Frangus, on the Iron Archipelago. You will need to go to him and convince him of the worth of this union before you can take it directly to Chaderius.
Okay. This sounds quite doable.
Holly,
Yes.
there is no reason for you to return to Macaria until this is finished. It would be good for you to be off-world for a while.
And when you say finished, are we talking agreement, marriage, heirs? Like what at what point is this engagement complete?
She puts her head down as she begins doing paperwork and says, keep in touch and we'll talk more.
All right. Thank you, Sister Palatine. I grab my staff and make a move. All right, I think that Holly will begin prepare, go back and do whatever research she can on this family line first before she's ready to whatever off-world transport has been organized.
Okay. I mean, listen,
Yep.
You and we already know who this family line is.
Yeah, that's fine.
I cleared this with Ponda, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's Nero's granddaughter and Pierre Kaus. Fourth wife. Had a child.
Okay, that's a bit creepy. You know, that's all right. Nero got his wish in the end.
Fourth wife.
Yeah.
Pierre's. Well, I don't remember what time our original Rogue Trader campaign took place, but Pierre is quite old right now, I believe.
Yeah, this would be about 500 years later.
Yeah, Pano and I talked about it, and Pierre is clinging to life using those rejuvenate treatments.
Yeah,
I thought it was closer to 400, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry, it was about 400 years from the end of the campaign to the start of the Cicatrix Maledictum, and then you have 150 years of the Indominus Crusade.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then yeah, he's pretty much pushing the edge of human lifespan. Yeah. But when you're a rogue trader, you can afford it.
Yeah. He's more machine than man now.
He is, he loves that. He loves that part about he wanted it 2 hands of steel.
Twisted and evil.
Yes, I'm sorry. I misstated it. Clemency is Nero's great-granddaughter, not granddaughter. Okay. Pierre married Nero's granddaughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is there any specific question you have about either of their lineages before we talk about your voyage?
So is Clemency the heir apparent?
Yes, not of the Rogue Trader line. She's the heir apparent of Sephiroth Secunda.
Okay.
As the planetary governor, not as the Rogue Trader. Pierre has not declared an heir to his house yet.
Okay. But she's potentially an aspirant to the title then. So,
correct.
Okay.
But even if that weren't true, a planetary governor and a Rogue Trader are still a fairly legitimate and wealthy match.
Yeah. Has this other Rogue Trader, is he married before or not?
Chaderius? No, he's quite young, still in his 30s.
Okay. And have there been attempts by the Famulus to match him in the past?
He has been very difficult to get a hold of. He spends a lot of time in the Halo Stars.
Mm-hmm.
As your boss said, remote communication doesn't work that well, that far out. And getting a hold of him has been difficult, which is why they're sending you to go in person.
All right.
Time passes. It's been 6 months in your travel from Macaria to the Iron Archipelago. There's no opportunity to look out a window to see what you're approaching, but maps have been provided for you. The main offloading point that you are being docked at is a Imperial Navy base on the largest of 3 asteroids chained together. Somewhere off one of those asteroids, held on by a gravity tether, is some sort of exiled by the local people, Mechanicus commune. And then there are many further asteroids, space stations, hulked ships that are all tied together in a chain or orbiting each other throughout the Iron Archipelago, including the estate of one Chaderius Darkwind. And deep into the gravity well around which the Iron Archipelago rotates, you can see out of the nebulous fog a space hulk. It's eerie, warped, and in some places almost flesh-like exterior betrays its xeno nature.
All right.
You make your way onto the station, where you can see that there are numerous signs that say, Imperial citizens welcome here. Beneath that is a sign that says, Mechanicus go no further, and then it has like a red skull beneath that sign. There's some sort of color coding on every corridor that indicates how safe the local Imperial Guard garrison believes that area to be for Imperial citizens. And as you get further away from the Imperial Navy docks, those colors go from a brilliant green to a somewhat more murky brown fairly quickly. And that's it. You find yourself in the middle of a main trade concourse on the Iron Archipelago. The ship you arrived in already preparing its chartist captain to load and return back to Macaria. Hundreds of humans around you speaking mostly Low Gothic and a smattering of other languages. And surprisingly, you see a few of the Votanic Leagues. Sort of stunty, dwarfish, sometimes legal, sometimes not legal.
I will try to get the attention of some passerby just to ask a question. Excuse me, sir? Sir?
Yes, hello. How are you doing today, sister?
I'm looking to find a conveyance to take me to the estates of the rogue trader Captain Darkhold, sorry, was it?
Darkhold? Do you mean Darkwind?
Darkwind, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, yeah, you know, we've got a lot of airport carts around here. They're six-wheeler golf cart type contraptions, very popular, but you're going to need some sort of lighter shuttle to get over there. You know, I'm a void fisherman myself. My cousin runs the boat. I think we could give you a ride in a few solar hours while we're on our way out to go catch some fish.
Fish?
Yes.
Looking around, don't really see any water around here.
It's void fish.
Oh, okay.
I did say I was a void fisherman, didn't I? The title goes back about 400 years, you see, when my great-great-great-grandfather first arrived as a part of the Imperial Guard garrison. Back in that day, things were a little different than they are now. Discipline was a lot stronger back then. People had a lot better morals, too. So, anyway, there was a need to feed the local Imperial Guard. So he's telling this story, and we just cut through a montage of like you standing with him, you standing on a docks with him, you on a fishing boat, which apparently involves a lot of physical harpoons and at least one stolen or salvaged macro cannon. The fishing that they do and the void fish that they fish seem to be a lot more violent than what one would apply from normal fishing.
Yeah. So I let him tell his whole story. I tune out. Like my brain has gone completely elsewhere. But I let him. I was just waiting to see how long you try and continue the story for.
Oh, I could tell for a very long time. I'm artist, but so he ends the tale by saying, and that's when I caught my first void fish, harpooning it right through the liver and pulling it dead against the hull. You could still see the spot over there. We really had... Oh, look, we seem to be landing at Mr. Darkwind's manor right now. great to... You're going to need to find another way back, but great to meet you, sister. Blessings of the God Emperor upon you. Could you say a prayer today so that we might find some good non-mutated fish? It's so
Certainly.
hard to cut the bad parts out, you know?
And your story was touching. Do you mind if I tell others your story so that it can...
Of course. You can cut out about my Uncle Ted's tentacle arm. He had some of the bad parts of the fish.
No. That makes the story.
Oh! I like you.
All right. I will offer them a benediction and head off.
Okay. You find yourself standing in front of what is essentially the capsule of a mansion, a small mansion, floating in space, orbiting the main asteroid.
Right. Is there like a knocker or a bell or buzzer?
There is. It's a huge, heavy knocker, though, you know.
Yeah.
After about a minute, the massive, just to be clear, the house may not be that big. The doors are like 30 foot tall and made of,
how many Bane blades tall?
Yeah, let's say 4 Bane blades tall and made out of Bane blade level armor. It swings open with such a horrific noise. Clearly needs to be oiled as almost freakishly thin, kind of tall man with a black beard with like 2 stripes of white and like a very narrow face. I am Chamberlain Drablium Frengus. I assume, given your attire, that you are Sister Holly Van der Velt.
That's correct. I offer a hand.
It takes his hand like this very slowly, brings it down towards yours, and then twists it into a handshake.
All right. Is it
We
like
weren't
shaking a wet
expecting
fish?
you for another 2 months. The currents of the Imperium must have favored your voyage.
Indeed. I understand that I will be conducting negotiations sometime. Am I to stay in these estates, or will I need to
Whether
organize?
you will conduct the negotiations or not are the point of your meeting with me. Do not get ahead of yourself, sister. Please come inside. We will see that you are given what they might call bread and salt, fed and watered from your voyage.
Right.
So as you enter, you can see in order as you enter, there's a dark gothic ambiance of shadow, huge, like the 30-foot tall ceilings have dark velvety, like black red curtains coming down. Each curtain appears to be cutting the view off of a portrait on each side, and on your right as you enter is the portrait of the founder of the House of Darkwind. And as he brings you further, you go from Dissentia to her daughter. He continues to walk you forward through the house until you're at the back end, and he gestures to the left where there is a 30-foot tall, enormous painting of a headshot of Chaderius Darkwind. He's looking to the left. He's got kind of semi like sandy brown, almost blondish hair, a thick mustache, a full beard, kind of steely gunmetal blue eyes. That is the master, Chaderius Darkwind. Now, we shall retire to the sitting room, where I have prepared a board of cheeses and local delicacies and some drinks. Do you drink, sister?
From time to time. It's a very lovely house too. I love the color.
Yes, I myself prefer the darkness of it. He takes you into the seating room, which is a little ridiculous. The ceilings are 30 feet high, and the furniture cuts off at exactly 6 feet. So his head is above all the furniture level. There's like bookshelves and a fireplace and ornaments, treasures that the House of Darkwind has captured along the wall, but none of it goes above the 6-foot level. And then no rugs, no carpeting, just a complete blank space and a small table with 2 stools and a charcuterie board and a bottle of wine with 2 glasses. Just feels so echoey and so empty as the two of you move.
So it's not one of those ones where you got like the 30-foot long table with like a chair at each end.
No, it's so much worse because it's like a 3-foot wide table for the 2 of you.
Okay, no worries.
My understanding is that the Adepta Sororitas wish to bilk the finances of House Darkwind for their own gain. Explain to me what genetic purpose the union of these 2 lines will gain.
Well, we haven't even gotten to discussing the lines yet. I mean, I do need to say that the purpose of us being here is it's not a financial purpose. It's for the betterment of the Imperium. The rogue trader lines exist by the will of the God Emperor and by the High Lords of Terror, and it's in the interests of the Ecclesiarchy, the Administratum, and the High Lords that these lines continue strong, that that good matches are made, that the right heirs are produced. And so I have come here on behalf of my order to help your lord find the right match and continue to be able to provide what the Imperium expects of him. Not just worlds and riches, but heirs. The worst thing is a rogue trader line which ends.
Yes. Well, you have summarized the mission statement of the Ordo Famulus. That did not answer my question as to why these 2 individuals specific. Now, as he's saying that, as you were talking, he was gathering a single cracker, a single spherical, like round slice of meat, a piece of cheese, and then very noisily biting into it while you were talking.
So I wasn't aware that the order had already put a person forward to the rogue trader.
Isn't that why you're here?
Well, as I said, I haven't come here with a specific union in mind. I wanted to present options, choices. Rogue traders have incredible power, and to take that power away from them in such a way that would limit them to a single choice is not what I'm here to do.
Okay, you can make your rapport roll now. He likes that, so I'll give you a +10 on this roll.
Okay, no worries. Well, I can make my presence roll first because it's the first time I've met this person.
That is true. So, this is the first time you've met and he counts as being part of a rogue trader organization. If that gives you any. Okay, so it doesn't give me any
there, but I'll do the rapport roll, which is on a 5-10. That one. There you go. So a degree.
Is that with the +10?
That's with the +10, yes.
Okay. He snorts, and his little mustache ends go flying, and he says, "Yes, interesting. You've come here with options, then. Good. I like the cut of your jib, Holly Van der Velt. I will speak with my master about meeting with you. I assume you have these options prepared that I might peruse them and remove candidates that I find unsuitable for my master."
Indeed, but would you at least pay me the courtesy of allowing me to pitch each candidate to you first, so that it's not just based upon what you read, but based upon my explanation of why I selected these individual candidates?
He looks around the house and says, "Very well, I've got time."
Yeah. I put my bag down beside me and open it up, and I pull out 5 like folders. So you know those old folders that were like secured with like a bit of string you wrap around like a toggle here.
Yeah,
So
in the
like,
upper right-hand corner, yes, government red tape, I believe.
right.
Is,
So I pull out 5 folders. I clearly think for a moment, and I put 1 folder back in the bag, and then put the 4 folders on the table.
Ooh, what a negotiation tactic! You've got me falling for it, James, and I know what you're doing.
So I open up the first folder. So the first option I wanted to put forward was Lady Seraphina Ladan of the Ladan family. Lady Seraphina's family have been members in good standing of the Imperium since the creation of this sector, when they helped Lord Solomon Chaderius first establish this region. They largely held mining concerns, and Lady Seraphina is both their eldest heir and also the governess of their mining facilities on Leonova. That provide both significant ores to the Adeptus Mechanicum, but also great mineral wealth in the form of gemstones, which are largely purchased by Macarius for decorations of the great shrines. Seraphina is a beautiful, and there's a picture of the thing as well, well-to-do noble of a powerful family line and an heir. I do need to call out that her family's involvement, I mean, while she is technically the administrator of the mines on Leonova, she has never worked a day in her life and is given to significant spending habits. I understand your lord must have vast wealth, but I assume it is also finite. So I would caution that although the genetic match of this very strong line is good, that she may have a tendency to dip deeply into the Lord Captain's coffers. Now, I'll put that one aside. Have it read.
No. You try to put it aside. He like grabs it and he goes to look at the picture and he's like, Okay, give me the next one.
Okay. In fact, what I was going to do, since you looked at the picture, is I'm going to throw you in Discord.
Are you GMing me right now? Is that what's happening? You're going to send me a picture of Seraphina Ladan? You're going to send me 4 pictures.
The second candidate I say opening the folder is Thalia Dre. Oh, sorry. Inquisitor Thalia Dre of the Order Xenos. There are, of course, many benefits of marrying into an inquisitorial line. Thalia is a member in good standing of the Inquisition and could potentially provide access to things like resources, intelligence networks, things that could definitely enhance the rogue trader's ability to navigate certain situations. As a member of the Order Xenos, I understand that Inquisitor Dre has had significant dealings with some Xenos, including the Aldari. One of their Xenos prognosticars apparently led her to believe that she is fated to produce a powerful heir, and thus, whereas normally marriage and children would not rate on her goals, suddenly she is of want of a powerful husband and a child. Obviously, I'm assuming the rogue trader would have no issue with being involved in any sort of Xenos prophecy if an Inquisitor was to say it was okay. But I'll let the Lord Captain decide whether or not that's an issue for him. But
I'm afraid inquisitorial business is far above what I deal with. I will say this: it would not be Lord Darkwind's first inquisitorial entanglement.
I see. Number 3 is Lieutenant General Alara Zen of the Astra Militarum here in the sector. She is a high-ranking and well-regarded member of the military who's prosecuted many campaigns. In fact, right now she is prosecuting a campaign against an orc warg. Whatever that's. Why am I saying that right? Warg. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I don't really know why it is that she's chosen to seek a union and a marriage and a child, and maybe simply her biological clock is ticking, so to speak. But in any case, she is a well-regarded and well-established member of the Imperium within this sector. There is the issue that her current campaign may be quite long-running, and such a union could take significant time to bring to fruition. I don't know whether she might have particular long-distance requirements of any relationship and any potential children. Could be something to keep in mind. That good candidate certainly has some other issues.
Braveland takes this one and goes, every candidate you bring me so far has some sort of flaw, has a drawback. Do you have no worthy candidate you can put forward who will not give me pause?
I look to the bag for a moment and then look up. Let me just go through candidate 4 first. This one's a bit more left of field, but maybe we're going too conventional. So the 4th candidate is Isabella Silent Voss. She is, if you're not familiar, of course, the head of the Obsidian Serpents crime syndicate, involved in a number of activities, including smuggling contraband, arms trafficking, narcotics, information brokerage. I know this might seem odd, but let me put this to you. There are some who say that things are illegal. There are some who say when a rogue trader does it, that makes it legal. So potentially the criminal syndicate that Silent Voss runs could be legitimized under the rogue traders' aegis. Of course, there may be some people in the Imperium who don't necessarily agree with that as a way of thinking, but it's something to consider. I don't know, is that too much of a flaw based on what we were discussing?
First, you bring us someone with green skin entanglements, and now criminals?
As I said, I try to think left of field. Look, I did come here with a potential 5th candidate. I wasn't really sure whether, like, she comes from a very prestigious line, and it would be a difficult negotiation in order to make this work from their side. I assume your lord knows well of other rogue traders. Is he familiar with the Cowls line?
Yes, he is.
Yes, well,
everyone's waiting for the old man to die.
Well, his daughter is of want, and of course, I don't even know if I could really make that work. I mean, I have her details here. She is, but it could be a difficult negotiation to bring the Cowles family on board with this. I mean, I mean no disrespect to your Lord Captain. He is a fine and upstanding figure. I don't know whether he chooses to punch above his weight, so to speak.
Punch above his weight. Which daughter is this exactly?
I pull out the folder and have a. I pull out the folder and I look at myself, like, not showing him, like it's still private to me right now.
Yeah.
That would be Clemency Cowles de Crema.
Lacrima. The line of Sephira Secunda, then.
You know of it. Yes, a powerful world, certainly.
The glass exports of their weapons are well known across the Imperium.
Look, I put the folder on the table. I can't guarantee that this is definitely on this arrangement would be definitely on the table, but I'll add it to the other 4 for you to consider as well.
No, he takes this one. He says, and you think this candidate would be above Chaderius Darkwind? Chaderius Darkwind.
I'll just say that a match like this happens once in a century. It takes a lot to make such an impressive match, both socially, genetically. I mean, I'm still a relatively young sister of the order, so it would be only a few months ago someone asked me what miracles I had performed. Maybe if I could pull this off, it would be my first.
James, I want you to roll, but I don't know what we would do if you failed this roll. I'm just gonna say that your shuffle game of being like, well, this one's a little out of your reach, and can I even put it there, works. He goes, I will take these offers to Chaderius Darkwind, and this one will be at the top of the pile. We will arrange rooms for you here for when the Lord Captain returns so that you may meet with him.
I bow to your stronger sense of knowledge.
Yes.
And I thank you for your hospitality.
We have quite a collection of novels here. I understand that the Famulists get very excited about romance and bloodlines. We do have a recently arrived second edition works of the Canticles of Thorn, if you would like to peruse that.
I do enjoy reading. It's part of my duty, and it's my honor to do so. So I would love to peruse whatever library you would make available to me. Not sure if I'm quite into the same level of pornography as some of my sisters are when it comes to bloodlines, but
speak to the servitor on the second floor. They will arrange a room for you and provide you whatever you need while you are here.
Thank you. This wine is very good, by the way.
It is substandard, but what we have available for guests. You will drink better in the coming days.
Well, it's a far step up from sacramental wine.
Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! And that, I believe, will wrap up this particular prequel episode of your meeting with Chamberlain, Drabely, and Frengus.
There you go.
Wow, James, what a shuffle there. Even those four, did you have those prepared ahead of time, or did you just...
Yes, I did. Yeah, no, I did my homework.
Oh, boy. He was ready. He was ready, audience, to play the game against me. Against me. I love I put this one back in the bag. Jeez, I feel like you're trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner. Well, there is one model, but I don't know.
You wouldn't be interested. Yeah, this is...
We mostly keep it for our most premium clients. Oh, James. What are your thoughts on this prequel episode?
Oh, look, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly, how I hoped this would go. So that's a lot of fun to have a go at this, definitely. So I'm interested in seeing how it compares with the other two. I think that they might be
their episodes will be very different than yours. I think next up will be Kain tomorrow. So for the folks at home, it'll be in a few seconds. Thanks for joining us, friends, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hey, friends. Welcome to Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum, Iron Archipelago, the second prequel part. I just wanted to thank myself from yesterday for helping to introduce this particular episode. And, I'm here with KainDamael. We're going to be learning a bit more about veteran Sergeant Rassie van Lucht. We start with the gentle sound of rain coming down on the hard steel exterior of a spacecraft. We see a figure seated with some sort of electronic visor binoculars around a leather tie at his neck. He is seated in profile, looking out through camouflage netting. The inside of the ship that he's on is clearly old. It might be human. It might be Xenos. It is orbiting a Space Hulk. And we can see the mind-numbingly huge Space Hulk and the sort of warping of space that it has around it, as the local area has a very thin atmosphere that allows this person to breathe despite being in near void conditions. And there is a beautiful but strange nebula behind the Space Hulk, or maybe in front of it. It's hard to say. It keeps shifting. The stars are glimmering in unusual ways as they pass through this nebulous field of view. Tell us what we are looking at when we look at Veteran Sergeant Rassie von Lucht.
So Rassie has a bit of a nervous habit. While seated, it's a little bit of a rock. When standing, it's a little bit of a bob. Rassie's a little bit on the shorter side, even for the 40K universe. But notably, he's got blonde hair that, through some chemical means, he's got to stand up a bit, and a red bandana tied around his head when he's got his helmet off to keep his hair up and out of his face. He's got a serious look, and the side of his face has a horrific burn scar.
Your watch over this particular sector is coming to an end soon, and you can hear further down the hallway that has become the home of your unit for the past 2 years. Corporal Schwimmer is holding a morale boosting event where soldiers, the 7 of you, have been given a lottery as to which MRE people are going to get. And he awards Suprenza with the Chili Mac, which is highly vaunted among Imperial Guard troops. The corporal hands out some corpse starch to some of the losers, which include Jackson and Colt. And then he jogs over to you and then kneels down so that he's at the same level as you. And he says, Sergeant, I've got some pasta with garden vegetables here for you. And it's my watch. Take over for you.
All right. Nothing's happened yet. Something's bound to happen at some point.
Yeah. So, listen, Sarge. This is the last set of food we're going to get for a while if we don't go out and get it. After my watch is over, I'd like to sit down with you and discuss a plan. We've got a very narrow window where we can attack one of the greenskin transports. I think this one's going to be fully loaded. It has to make the asteroid run. I think we can catch it at the perfect moment, and we'll be able to get enough food for 12 people for a while.
Sounds like you've thought this over.
Not much else to do, Sergeant.
Fair enough. Once your watch is over, we'll go over your plan. Make sure it addresses anything you might have missed.
Understood.
It sounds like it's an opportunity we're going to have to take.
He holds out his hand to take the visor from you.
I hand it to him.
He sits in the chair, looking out, camouflage netting at sort of very fuzzy Space Hulk that just does weird things to people's heads while they're looking at it. And he sits uncomfortably. You leave Corporal Schwimmer sitting in the chair and you look at the other members of your unit. Rat, Suprenza, Moon, Jackson, Holt, although most people call him Discharge, and one particular trooper who will only answer to the name Brother. They're gathered far away from you and are sitting next to a fire barrel that they're cooking their las guns in so that the las guns will recharge. There is a portrait of the Lord Commander of the Imperium Robot Guliman up on a wall, and every once in a while someone will look at it and sort of smile, and that brings what little hope you've seen in the last 2 years into their eyes. Beneath that is the last regimental colors of the 143rd Elysian Drop Troopers. This is it. They're the 8 of you are it. You're the last of the 143rd. Beneath that is placed on a little stool the one copy of the Imperial Infantryman's Uplifting Primer that you have left. Each of you should have one of these on you at all times. And if any sort of leadership, a captain or higher or a commissar, found the 8 of you without your primers, you would all be severely punished. But probably you'd be punished for possibly desertion or being out of uniform or not reporting in for 2 years. But as you're sitting there, you're just wondering, where are your orders? You've been trying to reconvene for the last 2 years, and at every possible opportunity, whoever is in charge of this Space Hulk's Imperial Guard Regiment continuously tells you that you're all officially dead and probably heretics and rebels, and they want nothing to do with you. No one will listen to you. There's nowhere to go. The 143rd lives only in this unit, desperately hoping to hear back from any sort of command structure whatsoever. As you draw closer to the circle of brotherhood of your 6 other troopers, they all stand uncomfortably, not quite at attention, but just kind of shift as you walk towards them. Which is very usual for them.
Yes, they're starting to get up. He'll start waving his hand down for them to sit.
Okay. They all sit. And some of them, occasionally eyeing you awkwardly, go back to doing what troopers do.
Yeah, I think he knows that the longer he spends around people, he's a pretty intense guy. He doesn't want to cause more problems than he's solving. So he'll come over and sit down, engage in whatever conversation's happening for the first few bites of his food, and then he'll get up and start walking around.
As you sit down, it is a familiar argument you're hearing. Jackson is and going, just as soon as we get this all sorted out, just as soon as I got leave, I'm going home. I'm going back to Elysium. I got my girl waiting for me back there. And you see Suprenza, or by the call sign people have given her, Soap, after a very unfortunate hygiene incident where a sergeant lambasted her. She says, Jackson, you're an idiot. No one goes home in the Astra Militarum. Have you ever heard of anyone going back to Elysium? It's not going to happen. We're half an Imperium away. We're not even in the same segmentum. You're not going home ever. We're going to live here and we're going to die here.
We might not go back to Elysia. And that's the norm. That is the norm. But this is not going to be the place we die. We volunteered to serve the Emperor, and we're going to find a way to live our lives for the Emperor. This isn't going to be the end. I'm going to see to that.
You can see Brother is nodding his head. The other person nodding his head is No one remembers what his real name is. He's only been called his call sign since training, ever since he snitched to a commissar. Rat. Rat is nodding when you speak, and he says, you know, sir, when you're right, you're right. When you're right, you're right. That's what I always said. Sergeant Lucht.
Yeah. We've got, we're putting together a way to get another resupply. Well, there's a lot, I'm sure there's a lot on your minds. Just focus on tomorrow. Every day's a blessing. And that's why he'll get up and sort of give a nod and start doing his walk.
Okay. You can see Discharge is like, stands up when you stand up, looks in the barrel, starts pulling out las rifles, checking them, seeing that they're charged, handing them back to who they belong to. And you hear quietly, just when he thinks you're out of reach, he goes, God, that guy freaks me out, man. I can't believe Ryder died and that guy's alive.
I think Rassie's used to this kind of thing. And it's not openly insubordinate. He doesn't mind if people don't like him.
You're awoken from your privacy, some indeterminate half-dream state later, by Corporal Schwimmer. He's got a little map and some pieces of detritus, like a jack and a marble and like half of a thrown gelt and some solars that he's like, okay, so look, sir, here's what I've got for you.
All right, show it to me.
Yeah, you're basically coming out of like a half nap, and he's so intense right now. So, we know that the greenskins have to stop for supplies regularly. This is the plans for the Arvis lighter that they've commandeered. So, this right here, this represents the wings of the aircraft. They've opened the sides of the aircraft so that it's basically not spaceworthy anymore, which is all right because the atmosphere between the Archipelago and the Space Hulk is functional to some extent. I think if we take that cargo platform that we've got and we strap some sort of rocket engine to it, we wait for them to make the slow turn and prep for the run through the asteroids to the Space Hulk. We wait for them to open that broadside. We'll be able to see in. I'm guessing their supplies are all going to be right in that central area. We zoom in, we eliminate whatever guards are in the cargo area. Normally, my intel says between 1 and 2. Maybe we even kick him out of the aircraft. Then we grab whatever we can carry from the center area and get out before the pilot or anybody in the engineering section notices what's going on. I think our gear is good enough to get us back very slowly. Although, I have to say, I do want to take another look at your drop packs, Sergeant. The machine spirit's been acting up lately, and honestly, not that any of our gear has been properly inspected in over 2 years, but it would be nice if we had some replacement parts.
Yeah. Go ahead and take a look at the packs. I'm going to go get an ammo count. I like this plan. We're going to do it.
Okay. Schwimmer goes to get an ammo count and reports in that no one has any ammo. What you have is everyone has a fully charged las rifle that has been heated up in a burning fire.
So no reloads, just a single power pack remaining per trooper.
Yep. You, however, have whatever's on your character sheet, so you probably are fairly well armed compared to your troops.
All right. How much time do we have before we're looking at timing this launch?
I think 6 hours, Sergeant.
All right. Who's on watch now?
It's discharge, sir.
Okay. All right, troopers. Everyone except Discharge and I, get some sleep. We've got a mission. You're waking up in 5 hours.
They all go into what must have at some point been a closet, but has turned into semi-private rooms in this hallway that you've lived in for 2 years. It is an uncomfortable space, but at least there is some small measure of privacy. As you and Discharge settle in as the only people awake, you can see that he's quietly cursing you from watch, where he's just like, my name's Colt. It's Colt. You wake up from one dream with wet bed sheets and you just call Discharge the rest of your life. Cannot believe this unit. I want to get a transfer to the 156th.
Yeah, I'll wait a little bit for people to go to sleep and then I'll go have a seat next to him.
Okay. He looks so uncomfortable that you're sitting next to him, like physically revolted by your presence, which is not unusual. This is very typical for him.
I'll take one of my few remaining grenades and unclip it from my harness and just sort of hold it out to him. I can only throw so many, Colt. This one's for you.
Yes, Sergeant. That's it. Onto what passes for a harness. His Imperial Guard armor lost long time ago, before you even came to this world. It passes for fatigues, half burned off and replaced by some thin local leather, but the harness intact. He attaches the grenade to it and he says, I'll make sure. Well, you know, we probably don't want to throw it in the cargo area, but maybe I'll throw one into the pilot's bay and that'll get some results, Sergeant.
Yep. I trust your judgment.
You seem surprised when you say that. Yes, sir. Yes, Sergeant.
Well, I'm going to take a walkabout, take a check on a few other pieces of equipment. Have a quiet watch.
Okay. I got 30 minutes left before I swap with Moon.
Okay.
It's not very far to go. Your home base is a floating tin can orbiting a space hulk. You check some other pieces of equipment, but you're given privacy only by the fact that everyone else is asleep.
Yeah, I think after taking a look at a couple pieces of equipment and watching the turnover for watch, Rassie ends up not sitting next to Moon, but just sort of taking a position where you can also look out in that direction and just sort of stare at what's been the focus of their attention for years now, thinking about what he can, if there's any, he's going through the mental gymnastics, trying to think, is there any way that I can find a way to change the minds of the administrators, or maybe there's something there where I can give them the honor and glory, something to give them good deaths for the Emperor so they can live and die well. Trying to think of a better outcome than where they're stuck.
Your mind cuts back to years ago when you first arrived and tried to approach the local Imperial Guard commander, Lord Colonel Renard, who flatly refused through an aide to meet with you in any way, and in fact banished you out of all Imperial territory. You recall messages sent to an administratum official, Ordinate Barnum and Hovler, who you've never heard back from, despite the fact it's been 2 years and messages every 3 months as is required. None of them have gotten back to you. You enter a sort of state where your mind drifts despite being awake, and you remember being on Elysian during a pirate raid, and Lieutenant Drider is standing next to you, and he says, "Corporal, kind of hot out here. With all the bullets flying.
Wouldn't have it any
well?
other way, LT."
Yeah, wouldn't have it any other way. You know, they say one of the Primarchs is alive again. Another one, Lionel Johnson, commanded the First Legion of Space Marines. Pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Well, seems like good times to me.
I mean, we've got a Lord Commander of the Imperium. We've got one of his brothers awake. It's a good time for a crusade. All right.
Good time to be alive.
Corporal, why don't you wake everybody up? In about 30 minutes, I'm going to organize a raid. We're going to put some suppressive fire on those pirates, and I want your squad to make their way over there and give them a very rude understanding of what a flanking maneuver is.
Yes, sir.
All right. He pats you on the shoulder, and as you get patted on the shoulder in this remembrance, you also get patted on the shoulder in this time and space, as Schwimmer silently just kind of pats you and shakes you and says, "Sergeant, it's time to go."
Oh, sorry. All right, let's do this.
7 Imperial Guard troopers, including 1 corporal, and their sergeant, stand on what is essentially a floating platform with a sort of weird series of 90s street kid like Segway, or what are those scooters called that are just the inline razor scooters or whatever? It's like that, except it works in 3 dimensions. And a chemical rocket has been hastily assembled at the back of it. Everyone has on some form of breathing apparatus, and Schwimmer hands you yours. As they all kneel down, get a handhold on a strap, and prepare for Schwimmer to shoot you through open space towards the Space Hulk.
All right, everybody, check your battle buddy. Make sure their gear is ready to go.
Everyone checks the person in front of them, and then they double check their drop packs on the shoulders. Schwimmer checks yours, and he says, "Sir, I have to tell you, you shouldn't be putting any strain on these. They're machine spirits real finicky. Just be careful out there."
Always am.
Okay. Listen, if you need help, just give us the signal. One of us will come get you while you're floating.
All right. Everybody remember your pairs. If you have an equipment failure, your buddy will help you.
Schwimmer looks to you as if he's waiting for you to give the order.
I'll take a knee towards at the front, and I'll give him the thumbs up.
All right. You get a very quick, fast acceleration that jerks everyone back. The chemical rocket burns out within a few seconds, and that's it. You are a pool ball being shot through low gravity towards an asteroid field.
Want to take a quick look back and make sure we didn't lose anybody during the burn.
No, everyone is attached well. It's certainly not an ideal form of transport, but you are Elysian drop troopers. After 20 minutes of free hanging in near open space, you arrive at the rendezvous point. Schwimmer silently informs you with hand signals that you are here at the correct time, and you can see an Arvis lighter that the sides have been sawed open with jagged edges that have not been smoothed or been made OSHA compliant in any way. Teeth have been attached to the outside. There's all sorts of spikes and painted sigils, and you can see it is zooming, but it is making a final turn before waiting at the start of the asteroid run. This is a sort of protective field of asteroids around the Space Hulk that a opening shows up once every mathematically calculable amount of time. You know, like the asteroids will open a passage very briefly for a few minutes once an hour. They swing almost exactly into the position Swimmer has calculated and tip their wings so that you have a perfect shot for you and all of your droppers to just activate your packs and essentially fall up or down, depending on your orientation, into the side of this aircraft, and then reorient yourself once you're on board.
I want to look in the gap and see how many orc can I see.
You see one orc, as is placed on this map. He has a choppa. However, the choppa seems to be somewhat modified. It's not just a regular choppa. It's also got sort of a chain choppa function, and he's got a slugga pistol. But it also has a red laser on the slugga pistol, which is also a little unusual. Not that orcs have equipment standardization, but this is not in any way standard.
I want to look over at Schwimmer.
Yep.
Do like eyes there. I see one. How about you?
He sends you back that he can't see through the cockpit glass and agrees that he sees one in the cargo area.
Okay, I nod. I look back at the rest of the troopers, and eyes there, one.
Okay, everyone's nodding. People are starting to crouch, have their rifles ready. They are getting good to just hop overboard and prepare the assault at your word.
Okay. When I get everyone's in position, I'll turn towards the lander and just look back over my shoulder and give a nod, and I'll hop first.
Of course you're gonna hop first. I mean, we've all seen a war movie. I believe piloting is a skill.
Piloting is a skill?
Yes. I would like you to make a piloting check.
Okay.
This would be piloting military restricted.
Difficulty?
Just the +0 difficulty. Just a normal, average, regular difficulty. Okay. 2 degrees of success. you begin heading exactly correctly towards the open bay. Many of the troopers around you have the same level of focus that you do. You can see some are straying and will miss the ship and are having to slow down and shuffle sideways back to drop correctly. It looks like specifically Rat, Suprenza, and Moon are in the second drop group, and you're going down with Schwimmer, Jackson, Colt, and Brother. As you look up at your men falling feet first towards you, you could see that Colt has removed the grenade and is prepped, and he's getting ready to like throw it ahead of you into the bay to nail that greenskin. As you're going down, see, now we're at the part where you hit the cinematic part of this game. You are going down and you're falling and you feel something tugging at your shoulder, and then you realize it's not that anything's tugging, it's that the drop pod on your right shoulder is starting to fail, and then the left one starts to fail as well. And you hit not the open bay, you hit one of the Arvis Lighter's wings, and you immediately start doing end over end flips until you crash into the cargo pile, dislocating some of the boxes, and are knocked unconscious. But for you, there is no moment of unconsciousness. You move from falling into the cargo bay in maybe not a panic, but definitely an emergency situation with equipment failure. You find yourself on a shaking Arvis cargo lighter years ago. You are wearing Imperial Guard outfits, not Elysian drop troopers. And you can see that an Elysian drop trooper training sergeant is standing in front of you. There's only one man between you and the door. And the sergeant is saying, yeah, you don't want to jump? You don't have to get out of this aircraft. That dog doesn't hunt like that. I'll tell you what. You want to sit down on the washout bench? You go right ahead, Preston. I'm not going to stop you. But you take a seat over there. You're done. You've passed your Imperial Guard qualifications. No one can take that away from you. You sit on that bench. You don't get out of this aircraft, you're not an Elysian, and you never will be. We'll swap you off world. Okay, Preston, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. And if that green light goes off, God Emperor help you, there's going to be problems. You can see he starts counting. People behind you are like fidgeting and pushing each other. They want to complete their first drop qualification so that they can become Elysians. And this jackass, Preston, is holding them up. And you hear someone say, someone should say something. And it's just you and Preston up there standing at the door.
So am I like the person directly behind him?
Yeah.
And this is what, grab shoot training?
Yep. It's your first drop.
I want to put my hands like on his pack.
Okay.
And just shout real loud, for the throne! And just push him out with me.
This is a man who's not good at talking and decided not to use his talking stat to do this. Okay, I'd like an athletic strength check.
Okay.
What happens is you go to toss him. He panics. He turns and he pushes you out of the aircraft. You go falling backwards out the door. You see that the sergeant just pulls his gun and shoots Preston in the head. It's your first drop, falling backwards with no level of preparation. For the folks at home, that was about as close to a critical failure as you can get. -4 degrees of success.
Yeah.
The only way it could have been worse was a 99 or a 100. Yeah. You wake up from the memories of your first drop, barely successful, given that you were off target upside down, backwards, and you hadn't been given orders to drop yet. You can see that floating beside this vehicle, this cargo lighter, Colt is dead. Whatever he did with this green skin must not have worked because he's dead. Jackson is currently engaged in melee combat using the butt of his rifle with the green skin. And Brother is kind of circling the green skin, trying to get an open shot, just screaming, Jackson, get down! Get down! You are upside down, laying against the cargo pile, and you are on the back end of this aircraft, so you're located right about here. So Colt is out here. Jackson and Brother are located here, and you have no idea where Corporal Schwimmer is.
Okay. Can I can see the orc from where I'm at.
Well, again, you're pushed up against a pile of supplies and you're upside down. You're basically doing a headstand. But yes, you can see him in a rough way.
Okay. Even if the world is topsy-turvy, I'll aim my las gun.
Okay.
And I'll shout, drop!
All right. I would like you to make a, is it presence is the command roll?
Let's see. This
Discipline is for yourself. I believe presence is for other people.
Okay.
Let me just double check. Yep, direct the actions of others. If you have specialty leadership, it would be applicable here.
Nope.
Okay.
Difficulty?
Well, you know, for this part, I'm gonna say difficulty plus 10. Your men know you and they should be doing what you say.
Okay.
We'll talk more in a second about the difficulty of actually making the shot. Wow. Okay. So, unless you'd rolled a 1, you couldn't get a better success than that.
I'm a real swingy roller.
Yeah. Jackson drops to the floor. Or sorry, not Jackson. He drops to the floor. And you are making a aimed shot at this green skin?
Yep.
Okay. You can target a hit location without penalty if you'd like to.
I would like to target his face for no penalty.
Sure. I'm going to give you a minus 20 on this roll for being upside down and doing a headstand while shooting.
Okay. I have to check a talent real quick. I have drilled, and there's other guardsmen around me, and I have Deadeye.
Sure. I don't know what any of that means, but let's assume you get all of them.
Skills and talents. Here we go. Drilled. Okay, this is probably going to be, if I choose to act immediately after another person who has this, which it's default for guardsmen.
Yep.
Which would also apply to, okay, then I get +1 SL to all tests.
Okay.
And Deadeye, when you aim and make a range attack, get +1 SL.
Okay, so you're looking at a +2 success level. That will cancel out the minus 20 that you have.
Okay.
Sounds like you're well equipped to make this shot.
All right, so how do I roll the weapon? Do I just roll the skill?
Yeah, you will make your ranged test.
Okay.
I think James is working at... Now, I will say this. You can re-roll tests with a fate.
And that's a spend, not a burn?
That's correct.
Okay, then yeah, I'll spend a fate on that.
Okay. Okay, that's much better than it getting worse.
Yeah.
All right. So normally a 9 would hit the body, but of course you've chosen to aim at the head. 4 degrees of success on top of what's the damage of your weapon?
Let's see. Details. Damage is 5 plus SL.
Okay, so that's going to be 9 points of damage to the head. With the damage he has already taken, that is enough to drop him immediately. You shoot him, and to -2, but that would be the old system. So nowadays, it's... Ooh, okay, well, his eyes pop as he dies.
Okay.
It's very, what do you call it? Fallout death. You can see that the 2 men who are in this cargo bay with you begin grabbing supplies as much as they can put into their arms. And they begin moving back towards you.
I disengage myself from my awkward position.
Yeah.
Where's everyone else? I lost consciousness.
Glance outside. You can see and feel now that the cargo lighter is moving. Like, rather than sit here and get wrecked, the shuttle pilot is moving it, and so everyone is in a string, in a line directly behind the cargo lighter at various speeds.
Okay, so the rest of my troopers are outside.
Yeah.
I want to, once they've packed up on supplies, since we've got the string behind the lander, and they don't have any supplies, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to direct the 2 of them to grab a few of these containers and try to throw them back towards them.
All right.
And I'm going to go for the body.
Okay, you go for the body. As you do, you can hear brother just like, praise the God Emperor. You know, we did good here today. And he's picking supplies up, and then something really horrible happens. See if I can make this really ominous. Did that work?
I didn't hear anything.
But can you see it now?
I can see it, yeah.
So what happens is the back wall of the shuttle, the engineering section, get like a chainsaw bursts through it. A orc mech boy comes out and basically decapitates Jackson, throws his body into brother, and both of them go flying out of the shuttle together. That just leaves you versus this mech boy. You are standing before the headless body of the orc that you shot, and the mech boy is just like, "What's this? Come to take my teeth?"
I don't think Rassie's not big on words.
Yeah.
I think in the moment that this orc is decided to announce himself, I'm trying to shoot him in the face.
Okay. So we are in initiative. You are acting first. He is acting second.
Well, I'm alone, so I won't get my drilled.
That is correct.
But I am still a Deadeye.
You also have 1 point of supremacy.
Okay.
So you can spend that on any turn, once a turn, for a +1 SL.
I have tactical movement, which
Okay.
allows me to use a free action to take cover.
Okay.
So I'll
So
raise my lasgun, take a shot at his face, and I'll do that while I'm in motion to duck behind a box.
okay. So the cover in here is going to provide you with +2 arm.
Okay. So I shall take my shots.
Okay.
SL. Add an SL. Oof. I'm rolling really all over the place.
You actually do physically hit him in the head, and it just completely reflects off of some sort of crown visor he has. And he goes, huh, "Ain't no space marine. I'ma get your teeth, foamy."
Considering how awful this is, I think I might want to. I'm alone. I might want to try to reroll that.
You think so?
I feel like there's impending big danger here.
Yeah,
I think I'm
impending
do
big danger from a guy called a mech boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many fate do you have? Just for the audience's sake. I mean, obviously I know, but
I have a pool of 3.
great. It's not
Well,
worse,
so nothing
but
changes.
it's also not that much better. Yeah, you shoot him again in the head, and he just goes, "I'll bet you like your teeth." So this is a big pile of cargo. For him, it's just like a stepping stool that he can step up on as he makes his way atop the cargo towards you, swinging his mech arm, which he will now attempt to do. Do you have any skill that will allow you to dodge in short range?
I have reflexes.
That is true, but you need to have taken a dodge action to activate that, I believe.
I would have had to have done that instead of attack.
Yes.
Well, I attacked.
You did attack.
I don't have anything that allows me to break that rule.
Some do, some don't. I just double check here before I murder you with these new rules that I'm not used to. Grimdark James is watching this right now, doing the math in his head. Target location, no. Making a melee attack. Choose a target in immediate range. Both parties make a opposed melee attack. You are not wielding a melee weapon, so you make your test at disadvantage, or you can use reflexes dodge to try to dodge it.
I would
You
rather
prefer to dodge?
use reflexes, yeah.
Very well. Let's see here. Weapon skill is 45. Oh boy.
I impressively fail.
I rolled a 2, so it's almost a critical. So your armor rating is +2 right now.
From the cover?
Yes. What is the armor on your head? Because he rolled a 2. Oh no, sorry. It's the unit. Hold on. 2 is your left arm.
I have 4 armor on all locations.
Okay, so
plus the 2 for the cover.
Okay. So 6. You're gonna take 8 here, plus 4 for 12. Minus 6. You take 6 wounds.
Okay.
You deal the difference. The defender does not deal damage. They win unless they score a critical. Is this a critical? Let's see here. When you roll doubles on an attack with a positive SL. Okay, no, so it's not a critical. I hate to accidentally critical you. The damage there. You are now engaged with the target. I mean, this is not great. I mean, clearly this guy is very physically strong. He's huge compared to you, and he has you locked up in melee combat now. You do, however, have your hands on some quick salvage. If you'd like to make a perception check, we'll figure out what you may have gotten off of the dead orc boy.
Awareness? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
His slugga with the red laser is at hand. Now that you get a closer look at it, it's a custom. That's custom with a K for the orc boys at home.
Let's see. There should be environmental traits. Range weapons at immediate range. Disadvantage on your attack. So disadvantage is
You reverse the ones in tens place to be the worst combination it could be.
big oof.
You could roll something like a 55 or 44
Yeah,
or
I suppose.
33. Wouldn't get worse.
Check my melee real quick. Ooh. It's probably better to just try to shoot him.
I see. Good luck.
Yeah, well, here we go. I'm glad I have Deadeye to try to help out with this.
Are you shooting someplace in particular? Wow, wow,
I mean, I'm trying to shoot him in the face.
Sure.
I'm hoping it will at least make it harder for him to hurt me.
I do have bad news for you. That 5 becomes a reversed, so it is a 50.
Still a hit.
It is still a hit. It is still a hit.
So I'll have 2 degrees of success then? Because I got the 1 from Deadeye?
Yes. And what would the other one be? You have a +0 degrees of success on a 50 versus a 59.
Okay, so then... Yeah.
So you have a +1
degrees.
damage, and you hit him in the head, so he only has 4 armor there. What's the damage? What am I looking at?
It's 6 damage before reduction.
Okay. Not good for you. You shoot him in the head, and it doesn't really hurt that much.
I need to figure out... Oh, what's that do? Now that I'm already fighting, I'm looking at what do these things on my gun mean? I wasn't expecting to fight a mech boy. It's armory. Here we go.
You know what they say, there are no atheists in a foxhole, as you quickly look over your gun, looking for any advantage you can get.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you'll let me do this retroactively,
Okay.
but my gun has rapid fire, which I can use to get advantage.
You can't rapid fire and do aim shot at the same time. It hurts, doesn't it, having to choose between those two? As part of the aim action or the targeted location action, you cannot also rapid fire or burst.
I think the damage boost for canceling that disadvantage is probably going to be better than shooting him in the face.
Okay.
So I'll reduce my mag count by 1.
Okay.
So instead of a headshot,
It is
it'd be
now
6 degrees
area.
of success.
You still have
Because the advantage and disadvantage will cancel each other out, right? It'd stay a 5.
What gives you advantage in this case? Is it the
Rapid
burst?
fire.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
I can choose to either give it the spread trait or I can get advantage on the attack roll.
Okay, I believe
And
they will
increase the
cancel
damage
out.
by the rapid fire rating.
All right, so your area 5 is...
So I'm going to go for advantage instead of spread. So I
Yeah,
can keep
that
that
sounds
5.
about right.
And I need to
You
look
shoot
at
him in
what
the
the
right
rating
leg.
is.
Leg armor is
Last weapons.
2. Leg armor is 2. Your
Rapid
new
fire
damage is how
one.
much?
12.
This hurts him badly, but not enough to kill him.
That's better than what I just did. So I'll take it.
He will roar as you shoot him. First, it looks like you hit him in the head, but then you suddenly, at the last second, drop down and into his leg. He throws his head back and goes, "I'ma get those teeth." And he reaches out to like grab your head in his left hand and chop your head off with his chain axe. Okay.
Okay, time for a reflexes roll.
No, doesn't look like you'll need it.
Okay. Oh, I just saw the roll. Yeah.
Yeah, the roll's a 79. It's not good. Not good at all. Back to you. I assume you duck, and maybe like one strand of your guile hair gets between the two of you as you are locked in an extremely deadly combat.
Never been happier to already have a flat top. Yeah, I'll go for that range. And I'm gonna rapid fire again. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to spend my last one. I feel like I might need it. So I guess I miss.
Okay. I mean, he's going in again. He's going in for a clean sweep, and that will sweep. That dog will hunt. It's not enough to lower his degrees of success to where he would not hit. It does lower him down to a 0, though, so he doesn't get a bonus on the damage.
I like that.
Yeah.
Keep trying to duck behind boxes and pray that I don't die.
It's a 1d10 plus 2 this time, I think. Okay, 7 points of damage, and it will hit you in the body.
And that's before reduction?
That is before reduction.
Okay.
I didn't mention it until now, but it does have penetration 2. So it'll reduce your armor by 2.
And I've been hit twice, so that's 4 more damage I've taken.
Yes. How you looking?
I'm bloodied. I don't feel good.
How bloodied is bloodied?
I've taken 11 wounds,
Yeah.
and I have a capacity of 16.
You're very close to death then.
Yeah, this really doesn't feel good, but I don't think I can get away from him either. I think it's time to...
Well, hold on. We're back in cinematic mode. He is hulking over you. He brings the chain axe down into your shoulder. Your body armor is flying. You can see that your left shoulder drop pod is completely trashed by this guy. Whatever damage wasn't already done by a rogue machine spirit is just totally gone as he cuts that part of your armor off and basically like exposes your shoulder. He roars, and you hear a somewhat like a whistling noise, which is weird because he's roaring. So how can you hear something? You would have to be very loud to be above that. And then his chest explodes as he gets cleaved in half solidly by a 10-foot tall guy in blue power armor, not wearing a helmet, who goes, "Ah, you're alive."
I'll drop to a knee and start like looking and patting down how badly I'm injured and say, "Oh, the Emperor protects."
Do me a favor for a second, little brother. Can you open the door to that piloting area?
I'll take a look over. I've been on these before.
Yes.
So.
You open the door to the piloting area.
I'll stand to the side of the door and open it.
There are 2 orc pilots who seem surprised that Yumi opened the door. One of them begins standing up. The Space Marine pulls out a pineapple-sized grenade, like several times larger than a regular human grenade, tosses it in and says, "Now could you close it for me, please?"
I put one hand over one ear, slap the panel for the door, and it immediately goes on the other ear.
The front, we get the exterior cut of the front shuttle glass just flying out as 2 salsa orcs begin making their way. The man holds a hand out to you and says, "You seem a bit out of uniform, trooper. Can you please direct me to Colonel Davina Heinsmeyer of the Elysian 143rd Drop Infantry?"
Can I presume I don't have any idea what chapter this guy is.
I will allow a roll. Let's see here. I think lore is a roll. Is a test.
I mean, I could certainly roll lore.
You can certainly try, as they say. Yeah. There will be consequences if you roll poorly, though. Just to be clear.
You know what? I'm good then. I mean, Rassie knows enough. This is a Space Marine.
It is
There's
a Space
no confusing this for anything else. So Rassie will stand up and let the lasgun go on the sling and say, "Sir,
My lord is fine.
My lord, I am the ranking member of the 143rd. I am Sergeant Van Lucht."
He holds a cocktail napkin towards you and says, "We've only got about 2 minutes before this craft slams into the side of the Space Hulk, so I need you to make a decision very quickly, Sergeant."
Does he ask me anything?
He hands you a cocktail napkin that has something written on it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Someone who was clearly very drunk wrote on this, and it says, "I formally award to Rogue Trader Chaderius Darkwind, the 143rd Elysian Drop Troopers, should they exist, should they be willing, they may join his forces for a period of at least 1 year." And then signed, and you can't really read like who signed it, but you do see the title does start with the word sector, which is usually not put before someone's name unless they're quite high up.
I'll look up at the Space Marine and say, orders are orders. My men are ready to go. The rest of the 143rd is strung out behind the lander."
"Oh, I know. I saw them on the way in." He holds out a hand to you and says, "Well, I suppose come with me if you want to live."
"Absolutely, my lord."
So he basically like grabs you in one hand and pulls himself outside to where you see a assault bike and like straps you into the assault bike behind him and just begins driving around, gathering up drop troopers who are low on fuel, hanging in near open space as behind you, you hear and see the explosion of that shuttle crashing into the side of the Space Hulk. And he says, all right, well, just to introduce myself, I am, of course, a servant of Chaderius, Darkwind, and the Trading House. You may address me as my lord, not because I am a space marine, but because I am a noble.
Is there a name that you would like us to address you by, or just my lord?
Yes, of course. Battle brother of the second company of the Brazen Consuls, Mercutio Borghese, lord. Count, at your service.
I appreciate your timing, my lord.
Do you prefer sweet or dry wine?
I haven't had wine before.
Really? Well, this is going to be quite an experience for you. So he has gathered up most of the dead troopers that he can find. Rat, Suprenza, and Moon are hanging off of you as he flies this bike through what is almost zero gravity, but not quite. An almost zero atmosphere, but not quite. Having what appears to be a jolly good time, while the rest of you are in a chain hanging off of each other's equipment in a very reverse Santa Claus reindeer organization. As he begins to take you away from the Space Hulk, away from this horrid little cargo container that has been your home for 2 years, towards the main landing zone at the Iron Archipelago, perhaps to new employment under the trading house of Chaderius Darkwind. And that, my friends, is where we'll end this episode. Kain, congratulations on your survival. At one point, I was like, I really don't want to kill him during the intro, but he could just use fate to save his life, right? If I chop his head off.
That's why I didn't spend my last fate point in case it went really badly.
I believe that even if you've used a fate, you can still burn it.
Okay.
It's just gone forever at that point.
I have to say I was impressed at how far I made it with the mech boy. I think if that had continued, it was a toss-up, but I might have done it.
Just to be clear here, that's a junior mech boy with lightened stats. Yeah. Should you fight a mech boy in the future, you'll probably die.
Yeah.
For instance, a full mech boy gets a +9 on damage.
But
that's before successes. Yeah, their threat score is much higher than this guy. I mean, he was commanding a cargo shuttle, not exactly top tier material. Yeah, wow, we really fucked that Arvisider up really badly. The next episode, the first episode that you'll participate in, will have been some time after you've been hired and be your first day of work with the rest of your new squad. If you require it once per campaign arc, you can call on Rat, Suprenza, and Moon to join you for one episode as standard Imperial Guardsmen, but they will be able to fly using their drop equipment.
All right.
Post epilogue. He's basically like, Mercutio is like cleaning you off, and at one point he like rips part of your uniform, and he was like, it was ripped anyway. It just like rips your shirt off. We'll get you a new one. It'll look much better than this one. And as he does that, he looks down and he sees the bullet that you wear under your armor, under your shirt. But now that your shoulder's been chopped into, there is no armor blocking it. He says, can I see that for a moment? Your ornamentation.
Of course, my lord. And I'll.
As you take it off, you snap back to the moment you got it. Lieutenant Drider is in a foxhole with you. Part of his lung is gone. Horrible sucking mess. You can hear the rest of the 143rd dying around you, and he's holding a bullet towards you that he's carving into very quickly, and he says, "Sergeant, I need you to take this. Don't show it to anybody until you get to Macaria."
What is it? As I'm taking it.
It's in High Gothic. There's a conspiracy. They're trying to... movie death.
Feel like we've got like one hand behind his head and the other hand is grabbing this out of his hand, and he's like, what?
Lieutenant Drider, no! Rain pouring down on you. You snap back. You're standing in front of a space marine. He's looking it over and he says, "Do you speak High Gothic, Sergeant?"
My lieutenant did. He told me that was very important.
You don't know what this says, do you?
I haven't had the opportunity to try to learn High Gothic.
Fantastic language. Not a huge fan. He hands it back to you and says, "Keep it safe. Keep it hidden. Even from someone like me in the future."
I understand.
Let's try something sweet, shall we? I know of a good place on level 3 in the green zone. So you, shirtless, with no armor on, and a horrifying axe wound in your shoulder, are being led out into a population of humans, hundreds and thousands of humans, for the first time in 2 years, as the Space Marine is guiding you. And maybe it's the best day you've had in a while, actually.
Yeah, I take the bullet, I put it in my hand, and I wrap the cord around it so I can hide it. And I'm gonna go anywhere my Lord Space Marine tells me to. Let's go try this out.
Mercutio Borghese. He'll never appear on screen again. He will, though. He will. Yeah. That's it.
All right.
I hope you had fun. Hey, for the folks at home, I hope you had fun. And we'll be back tomorrow, or for you, in a few seconds, with Omar Krieg wrapping up the third part of these prequel episodes. Yeah, I just want to thank myself from yesterday to help introduce the me of today. We're here with Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum, Iron Archipelago, and this is the third prequel episode. They will all be compressed into one, but if you're watching this, you already know that. And yeah, we're here with Omar Krieg.
Hello.
And we're about to find out more about the life and times of Velamris Quineel.
Velamris Quineel.
Velamris Quineel.
That's probably about the only time I'm going to get it right on the first try myself.
Sure. You see in a darkened space a bed in what is essentially a sleeping capsule room, a closet that has your name and in a cubby for like clothing, and then two other cubbies with two other names in it, a kitchenette, and place to sit. There are no windows in this dim room, and we see Velamris Quineel pouring himself a bowl of corpse starch, which is the lowest quality food made from ground up dead humans, and leftover building material, and then pouring some water in it to sort of soften it up before eating it. He looks unhealthy. He looks downtrodden, lacking some sleep, and there's a timer on the wall saying that he has less than 30 minutes to leave this room. Why don't you tell us what Velamris looks like in your own words?
So he's probably about 5'10", and I feel like 5'10", 180 is a fairly thin frame. But I may have some height and weight measurements messing with my head. But yeah, so he's about 5'10", 180, and just relatively short brown hair. There's like nothing visually unique about him. He's pretty unremarkable and pretty almost bland. He's got a little bit of stubble probably because, depending on how long it's been since he woke up, he hasn't shaved yet or he needs to shave again or whatever the case might be. He's dressed in just a simple set of robes, nothing spectacular. Of course, any equipment he might need for whatever he's doing that day is going to be, underneath the robes, easily accessible, but generally out of sight. And he just, at this point, he's probably just making his food because he knows he only has so much time. So he's just going to make his food and eat it and probably not really focus too much on enjoying it. Although it's corpse starch, so probably not a whole lot to enjoy. I feel like that's like the most blandest form of oatmeal or porridge is what he's eating.
As you're preparing to leave the room, you can see that just outside in the hallway, other people are exiting their rooms as well. And there is a device located, it's not against the wall, it's set to be as visible and intrusive in your life as possible. It's like a movie ticket podium that's set in an intersection that leads to the emergency stairwell and the elevation lift. It is a machine where you can rent, not buy, a rebreather to help filter out the toxic air of the Forge world.
Yes, I played Hard Space Shipbreaker. I know how that works.
You could see that various people are walking up to it. Some are swiping a card that says that they have a monthly account. Others who appear sick are looking at it forlornly, like they'd like to get their rebreather for the day, but they can't afford it. How does Velamris deal with this situation? And also deal with the fact that there's starting to form to be like a line, and when there's a line, it's difficult to get around them to get to the elevator. A lot of people are just pushing past, physically like checking everybody else in the area. By the way, 5'10", 180, I do not think you're that thin. I think you absolutely are a built guy who can push people out of their way for sure.
Okay, that's actually, you know what, that sounds
as someone
right.
who's 5'10" and a half, 180 would be a great weight to be at. That's a healthy weight, sir.
Yeah, okay, I can live with that because I'm not 5'10" or 180. So
I'm so shocked to hear that yet another one of my cast members has like 5 inches on me. It's so fucking weird.
Well, no, I'm 5'8". And
I see. I see.
And I'll just say a bit north of 180. We'll just leave that.
Listen, I know what being a bit north of 180 is. You might be the only non-female cast member who's shorter than me in my entire run, which includes people who are like teenagers and are still growing. I don't understand what is wrong with my show that there are so many tall people. Hey, welcome to the club, man. And we're not that short. Like 5'8" isn't 5'8" is not short. Yeah,
it's when you're like 5'5".
It's crazy that there's so many people who are like, yeah, I'm 6'2". I'm just like, what?
I think Velamris will. He's always got this like kind of. I don't know why my camera's not being cooperative right now. I may not have enough light on me. I don't know. I think he's not trying to like body check people, but he's also trying to just get in and get out. He's got to go drop some coins into this machine or whatever the equivalent is. Because I feel like he wouldn't be the one to have a pass card or whatever. He'd probably be throwing change in there every day. But he's definitely trying to get in and get out. Drop some coins, get to the elevator. He's got a place to be. And similar to myself, he's not a fan of people or crowds of people, especially large crowds of people getting in his way. So yeah, he's definitely trying to move through. And if he's got he's not trying to, he doesn't want to stick out either. Cause again, he's got the unremarkable trait. He's used to dealing with crowds of people and how to maneuver through them. which is more of a hive world trait and not a forge world trait, but definitely trying to get through without bumping too many people around if you can help it.
Interesting. You slowly, far too slowly, make your way to the front of the line. You throw some Imperial Throne Gelt into the machine and get your daily rebreather. As you step outside the building, you enter an atmosphere that has technically the correct amount of oxygen and chemical filtrants that human lifespan will not be adversely effective. There are so many asterisks involved on that statement, and it was issued by the Forge World's Adeptus Mechanicus. The sky is, as it always is, a hazy orange, and orange dust immediately begins clinging particulately to your clothes. Everyone around you, it's like one of those festivals in India where they're throwing stuff on you, except it's like that all the time everywhere. The buildings,
like confetti, but
you can see servitors are trying their best uselessly to scrub it off of the side of buildings and keep them clean. You catch the train to your work 40 minutes away at the local Adeptus Administratum building for this part of the planet. While you're on the train, you can see that someone has a loudhailer. They have headphones plugged into the loudhailer and were originally privately listening to something. They've fallen asleep. One of the headphones has fallen off and their music is playing obnoxiously loudly to everybody in here. There are a mix of unaltered humans, people who are both wearing the filtration system and those who are not, and people who have cybernetics. The people who have cybernetics are mostly sitting on the train car, and the unaltered humans are mostly standing and grabbing a rail or something like that, or a strap.
That sounds about right for a Forge World.
Next to you, two individuals that look like grandmothers are seated and are having a conversation in binary at incredibly loud pitch. They seem to be looking and talking about you, but again, it's in binary, so the whole conversation just sounds like a baud modem startup noise.
Yeah.
But they're gesturing at you while they're talking.
Just gonna let them say whatever they got to say. I feel like, so this is his home world, so he knows that I imagine there's probably a clear distinction between Mechanicus related and not.
I'm glad you're picking up on that.
Yeah, he is not related to the Mechanicus. He's a normal, unaugmented human. He knows how it goes, and he's just gonna stand there, holding onto a strap, swaying with the train car for 40 minutes. He'll keep to himself. About
halfway to your work, and if the train stays on time, you should get to work with about 10 minutes of spare time. About halfway there, all of the Mechanicus personnel in the car suddenly stand up and begin making their way to the next car over.
So the trains okay, so it's still moving.
The train is in motion, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is, and I imagine this is not normal.
Doesn't seem normal.
I think Velamris he's definitely watching, and maybe a pace or two behind, but he's going to follow. He's not going to be like right behind the last guy, but he's going to be a step or two behind. Okay.
You can hear behind you as somebody fires a gun. Doof, doof, doof. At people in the train car that you're still in. You're about 2 paces behind. You hear someone go, "Okay, everybody stop moving. Everyone get on the ground. I want to see your wallets. I want to see everything. It all belongs to us now. We're the killer reptiles. We're the straight up gangsters here, okay? You need to understand. You people call us scum. You call us underworld. What you got belongs to us now." And they begin moving through the train. 4 individuals wearing gas masks. Not little rebreathers, like gas masks that guard their face with like auto guns and like a bolt pistol. They appear to have knives. They are wearing like no clothing underneath like body armor vests, so you can see that they all have tons of tattoos. You are 2 steps from the door to close yourself into the next car. What do you want to do?
Well, there's 4 of them, and they've got significantly more firepower than what I might be carrying on me, hidden or otherwise. I'm gonna bolt.
Bolt? Okay.
Yeah, I'm right there. I might as well get in there as best I can and hope the doors don't chop off a limb or something.
Okay, I'd like you to make an athletics check.
That'll be fun. Let's see. Which one of these is the dice button again? Oh, no, I just have to type it. I just have to type it.
Open your character sheet, you go to skills, and you click on athletics.
Yeah. I was thinking the...
you have a +0 on this. It's pretty normal. Challenging, I would say.
Skills. Athletics. No mods and normal roll.
You rolled a 2 with 3 degrees of success.
I think I make it.
Yeah, you don't just make your way through there. You're so unremarkable that they didn't even notice you in the first place. As you quietly, like you quickly close the door, but right before it clicks into place, you slow it down and then slowly, silently finish it, and then keep making your way back through the train. You can see more Mechanicus personnel are in this car are making their way back. It's getting very crowded because Warhammer 40K is very British. Everyone has queued in a single line to go back.
You just wanted to say queued, didn't you?
I did want to say queued really badly. All the Mechanicus personnel are queued to head to the next car, and the regular humans in this car are very much looking confused.
Would it be out of line to say that I have at least my auto gun on me?
If you bring your auto gun with you to work in order to avoid crime, that's up to you.
I feel like it's justified right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be a tech priest that's going to be very distraught with me later, but I feel like right now it might be okay. I want to kind of sit towards the rear of that car, the one I just got into, and kind of watch and see if they try to make their way into this car after they finish with the previous car. And if they do, I want to be able to pop at least one of them right in the face and just catch them off guard.
Sure.
Like as soon as they crack the door, I'm just going to put the muzzle right in his face and shoot him.
I'm going to count that as a aimed action, which means that you have advantage. So whatever you roll, if it will be better to switch the ones and templates around, you can do that. So go ahead and roll.
I just looked that up earlier because I didn't know what exactly that meant here.
Is this long guns for you?
No, this would just be regular ballistics.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess regular ranged.
Just remember, it's a whole crowd full of people.
48.
You have fate points if you would like to re-roll.
I do, and I don't.
You were firing a gun. You said it's an auto gun. You didn't say you were firing at burst. No. But you are firing a gun in a crowded public location.
Well, what I imagine is like I'm right there by the door, so as soon as it pops open,
you have -4. It doesn't. Whatever you're saying, it's gonna go badly for you.
Yeah. Where's my fate point count at?
It's in the middle of your character sheet on main. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use one of those.
Okay. Now, when you re-roll, the re-roll is what sticks.
Yeah.
You could technically roll worse than this.
Is there a re-roll button I need to hit?
No, you just roll the same roll again.
Okay.
You might be able to hit up, enter.
That's fine.
It actually did get worse.
It did get
It got worse.
Fuck me.
Pretty significantly. It's now a 96.
Yeah.
Okay,
it even says astounding.
It is pretty astounding. You wait. You ambush somebody who opens the door. You go to fire. Your gun jams.
Yeah.
And the guy who walked through the door has a gun pointed to his temple. He looks so shocked and frightened through the panel in his gas mask. And then he sees that you've pulled the trigger and nothing's happened. And he turns towards you and he just has an auto gun pointed at your stomach, and he says, "Oh, well." Okay, but he's wearing a gas mask. So, oh, well, we've got a hero here. And so now he's putting his gun to your head and is trying to he's using the barrel to try to force your head down so that you'll kneel in front of him.
But he's not doing anything about the weapon in my hand that's jammed.
Yeah, he's not doing anything about it. It's jammed. He doesn't have to worry about that. Are you going to stop and clear a jam directly in front of him while he has a gun to your head?
If he's trying to push me down, I could just, in my head, I'm picturing I could just squat and clear the weapon and rechamber around. But I don't know how.
Have you ever seen the videos of the guys that are like, if someone has a gun on you, you just have to do this? Someone did a realistic version of that where a police officer's like, all you have to do is this, and then they're standing in heaven, and he's like, oh, I think I failed that course.
Yeah, no,
that's what's going to happen to you if you think you can duck, clear a jam, and then shoot a guy who has a gun pointed at your head.
No,
hey,
but I think
you know what? I'll make it fair. I'll roll for it. They could roll as badly as you, but probably they won't.
I think what I'm going to try to do. Well, I'm going to obviously. I don't have a choice at this point, and he's probably going to shoot me dead in the face if I fuck around. I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm going to kneel, but I'm also going to try to pocket the pistol.
Ooh, interesting. Does unremarkable give you something towards this?
No, but I have stealth, and there's also...
I was going to say, if this helps you with stealth, this talent allows you to remain hidden. No, I don't think it's going to...
Well, I'm thinking that or reflexes maybe, but I don't know if that would really
this is definitely a stealth test for sure. Yeah. And I'll even let you use your hide specialization on it. Okay.
That's a lot better.
You kneel down, you obsequious perhaps is the word. You agree to whatever he's doing, and just in the way that you can disappear into a crowd, you disappear that pistol, and he doesn't even think twice about it anymore. He's taking the rebreather off of your face. He's checking your clothing. He's got your wallet. He pulls your loose thrown gel out.
The three that are still in there.
Yeah, he pulls your ID card out and he throws it on the floor. You're going to need that later. He doesn't take it with him, and he's just like, shit, you're worse off than I am. And then he goes to knee you in the face. It's not like he's going to kill you at this point. It looks like he just wants to teach you a lesson.
Don't rob the robber. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I really, other than trying to make sure he doesn't take my weapon away from me and trying to keep an eye on where my ID card goes, I'm gonna, I shot my shot and it didn't work. So
you take one wound as you get kneed in the face.
So wounds. Why does it say I have 3 wounds on here?
Well, you shouldn't. You should have 11 wounds.
And well, the first box said 3 for some reason, but I just changed it to 1 out of the 11.
They being the 4 individuals who are swarming up and down these cars now, begin hitting up the Mechanicus members. It's not going well for these Mechanicus guys. Like, they basically are all complete sitting ducks standing in a line, and this guy's just like pulling cybernetics off them and stuffing them in a messenger bag. He's like, ooh, this will sell nice on the gray market out back. Yeah, that kind of shit.
Is there a way to unobtrusively kind of wait for them to pass me and be distracted? I don't know. There's 4 of them, though. That's the problem. Like, if there was just 1 or 2, I might have a fighting chance, but there's 4 of them, and there's nothing I can do to stop these fuckers, even though I really, really want to. And I feel like the God Emperor would want me to do this. But also, like, it's just packed. There's 4 people. I've got guns. It doesn't take much for this to turn into an absolute shit show. And a lot of it to be placed at Velamris' feet, which would not be good. And I don't have much in the way of, like, pickpocketing or whatever either. God, I really want to do something here, but I don't know if it would
Should
be...
I open fire on a hostile group in a crowded public location?
In a very, very... Because you started off with a crowded train car that is now basically almost doubled its occupancy.
Yeah.
And they have more guns than I have. So I think I'm just going to try to... I'm going to try to reacquire at least my ID card, if not the rest of my wallet that they didn't take.
No one stopped. You get it off the floor. You slide it back with your hand.
And I'm going to try to blend into the crowd and just keep an eye on them. I'm looking at this point now, I'm starting to look for like identifying features, things that make them stand out against any other random tattooed freak boys. I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not, but
you start taking measurements on these reptiles. And as the train car is pulling into your stop, just the instant before the cart fully stops and everybody gets shaken, because you are in the crowd sitting down on the benches or on the floors while these guys are getting searched, you're not one of the 4 people or several unfortunate mechanicus who get blasted as you see Adeptus Arbites with shotguns and automatic weapons just shooting randomly into the train cars at the station, just wiping anybody who's standing out. You hear one of them who's wearing like a big Texas 10-gallon hat go, "Clear!" People begin swarming. Like one guy, like he's a hero, puts a hand on like where the broken glass is and swings his whole body into the car and is like sweeping his shotgun around, sees people that are down who have been shot by his comrades, and he just shoots them to make sure they're dead. It doesn't matter whether they're members of the gang or whether they were Adeptus Mechanicus. He's just making sure everybody that shot was dead.
All right. Well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't get more engaged. There will be definitely a little mental note dinging in the back of Velamris's head about that too.
One of the people sitting next to you, who is cowering in fear, looks up at this Adeptus Arbitrae and is like, "Thank the God Emperor you came. You guys are the real heroes here."
I think Velamris is going to just very subtly just shake his head a little bit. What's going on?
You shake your head a little bit, and in the process, because you don't have your rebreather anymore, you get some of that noxious fumes in there. And your head shake turns into a cough, so no one knows that you're shaking your head.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. That works.
Despite every precaution you made to get here 10 minutes early, you arrive on time, which, as your boss will tell you in just a few minutes, is 10 minutes late.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You switch into your work outfit, your robes, because, of course, you can't wear your orange particulate-covered home clothes here into the office and look like a schmuck.
No, that would be unacceptable.
You arrive 3 minutes late, and you can see that all of your colleagues and your boss are all standing in a room, all watching you come out of the changing room, make your way across the floor and into the office room. And your boss, Ordinate Barnum Hovler, says, "Quineel, you know, on time is 10 minutes late."
Yeah, boss. What the hell? What was the name of that game? Reptile something or other?
You don't even remember.
I don't. They were so inconsequential. I think I'm just gonna be like, some jerkwaters tried to hit the train.
Hey, your problems are not my problems. They're not the administration problems. You need to show up on time, okay?
Understood.
All right, we're going to do the stand-up now. All right, I've allotted 15 minutes for this. Unfortunately, Quineel has wasted 3 of them. So in the next 12 minutes, each of us will go around. We'll say what we did yesterday, what we did today, and what we hope to accomplish at this office in the next 5 years.
All right.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm totally very easily amused. So
People start going around the table saying what they did yesterday, what they intend to do today, and what they intend to do over the next 5 years. And it comes around to your turn. A room full of your colleagues who all outrank you and your immediate supervisor are all looking at you to see what you have to say.
I I honestly don't know what I would have done yesterday. Whatever my job was, obviously, I would have completed X amounts of reports and whatever. And then what I've completed today would be nothing.
All right, that's our 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you failed to complete the assignment, I'm going to be tasking you for the George jobs today. Anyone who has any menial labor can drop it off on the menial's desk. So
right
people
Yay.
begin going to their open office plan desk where 4 L-shaped desks are all pushed together. Oh.
I'm listening. Yeah, my son's in the background running around, so I was trying to keep him quiet. Go ahead.
4 L-shaped desks are all pushed together so it forms a cross shape, and 4 people are seated all so that they look at each other. Everyone else keeps their head down, works on their typewriters, and writes out reports on like vellum script with ink. As you sit down, while everyone else has a few piles of paperwork, you have enormous piles of paperwork. When people have a task that they think is too hard today, they stand up from their desk and drop it off on your desk in your inbox.
So these are the menial tasks
Yeah.
that what's his face was talking about.
Yeah. Barnum and
Bailey.
Yep.
Well, him.
But you have 2 tasks that you haven't cleared in the last 6 months that are some major problems.
Okay.
So because this is a Adeptus Mechanicus planet, they applied for and received special permission for alternate uses of last names. Because many Mechanicus members have very significant names, they believe that names that are like Van der Velt, for instance, or von Lucht, the Van or Van der are not part of the last name, they're part of the middle name. And so on official forms, the Van der Velt should be middle initial .v Velt. Or if someone was to say be called Rassie van Lucht, their name would be Lucht, comma, Rassie, middle initial V.
Okay.
You've been trying to get a hold of these 2 individuals, Holly Van der Velt and Rassie van Lucht, for the last 6 months. But because you aren't authorized to use psychic communication, you've had to send scrolls via Chartist Captain, which they could only be arriving by today, or maybe they arrived 6 years ago. It's hard to tell when you use these kind of low...
It's hard to tell when you use the snail mail system.
Yeah, exactly. But these are the 2 big accounts that you have, and until you resolve this middle initial problem, which again, for the majority of the Imperium that are not on this specific planet that has gotten special dispensation, because the Magos who runs the world wants his last name, even though it's hyphenated, to be considered a middle initial in the first part. Is the exact reason he set this rule up.
He's having a power trip moment.
He's having a power trip moment. Yeah, this is the Imperium.
I mean, he's a Magos. I guess
yeah.
he can.
You could tell that your boss wants to see you. Barnum steps outside. He is a short, obese man wearing the same robes as you, but with a lot more color and ornamentation. I haven't described how one of his eyes has been replaced by what is literally like an IG-88 style zoom-in scope. He's got a couple Mechanicus implants on him, and he's gesturing for you to come see him in his office right away.
Yeah, I guess I'll set my, whatever task I was working on, whatever paperwork I was compiling, I'll set it aside.
Several people look up when you stand up because this is highly unusual and sneer at you.
Let him. I mean, the boss is literally waving me over, so I guess I have to go over there.
He has a corner office with windows. The windows don't look outside. They are projectors for a blue, grassy field. It looks nice outside. He's got golf clubs in the corner and several diplomas, pictures of him shaking hands with the Magos, pictures of him shaking hands with subsector commanders.
What's he doing? Go ahead.
pulls out a cigar and begins smoking it in front of you, and says, "Listen, I was just about to sit down for some guacamole and amasec. You want some?"
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So he pulls out an alcohol bottle, sets out 2 glasses, fills them half with guacamole, half with amasec, stirs it up, and then is like, "Okay, yeah. So we're doing lunch now."
It's 10 o'clock. Okay, lunch it is.
Look, I've been running your numbers. Things aren't looking good for you, okay? Numerologically, your name should describe inner strength, but your personality number is a 1. You know what that means? It means you try to be useful. You try to make decisions. You try to lead others. That doesn't sound right to me. You know why? Because trying isn't doing. You understand, Quineel? Trying isn't doing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. According to numerology, your soul urge is the desire to succeed. You see the problem? You desire to succeed. You don't succeed. You desire to succeed. Numerologically, I've been working out a system for rating people's work ethic. Of course, God Emperor, 1,000, batting 1,000, 100%. All right. Lord Commander of the Imperium, Primarch Robot Guliman, 0.912. Batting pretty high. Batting pretty high. He says, myself, I'm batting a perfect 0.5. You know what your numbers are at right now? Taking a look at your numerological charts, your past work history, your motivation, your tardiness. Can you guess where your numbers are at?
I would say you've got me somewhere in the 0.1 to 0.2 range.
You're right. You're in 0.124. I've found that when people drop below 0.1, it would be better to make them servitors. Okay? You're sliding. You're sliding. It's my job to make you a more productive individual. I want to pull you out of the problem you're making for yourself. Now look, I look out at your desk. I see problems 6-month-old that you haven't solved. I'm looking out there right now. He sticks his head out while he's drinking this really chunky guacamole and amasec combination. He goes, delicious. I love it. It's all the rage in the Magos circles. I'm looking at your desk. There's a pile of paperwork taller than my arm. Okay? This isn't good. This isn't good. But I want to say this, Quineel. It's not all bad for you. There was that one time I had you go undercover with internal investigations, and you busted that bribery scandal of the Prefect Tertius of the Historical Revisions Unit on Planet. That was big. Sir. That was big for me. All right?
Yes, sir.
He points to a plaque on the wall that says that he's the one that busted. He said that was big for me.
Of course. You're welcome, sir.
Without that, your numbers would be bad.
Yes, sir.
Now look, there's some suspicion in the high circles on the planet that this rogue traitor, Chaderius Darkwind, is involved in the gray trade. You know what that is?
I'm sure my character would have at least heard of it. I want to be clear. We're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of black market. Not the cold trade, because that's like body parts and stuff, or xenological body parts.
That's what I'm talking about, though. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This guy is getting the term wrong because he's a nerd.
Yeah, I've noticed.
He's drinking guacamole and vodka.
Yeah, I think Velamris will just kind of look at him, something similar to the slight head twist. Not sure what he's talking about with gray trade, because I think he's maybe thinking like gray water, black trade, or black market, but those don't quite work well together. So he's actually kind of confused, but he doesn't want to say what. He just wants him to keep talking.
Yeah. So alien body parts and such are being found in certain worlds all across the sector. It's a problem. It's a real problem here. Sometimes they get gummed up in the works. It really messes with the local corpse starch. Waste recovery. There's been some heretical incidents, if you know what I mean. So,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
To be flat about it as well, the Mechanicus suspects that the Darkwind trading family is holding back some truly monumental technological discoveries. Discoveries that should belong in the hands of the God Emperor's Mechanicus and in the hands of the Omnisci. This is a voluntary posting I'm about to tell you about. We want someone to go undercover in his organization. We'd fly you out to the Iron Archipelago. You do whatever it takes to get inside in his organization. Spend a few years, your head down, and then activate. Start sending us back the sort of information we're looking for. You know what we're looking for.
Yes, the answers are usually in the numbers.
He nods. He says, yeah, it's in the numbers. Exactly. He turns to look at a plaque.
To be
with
clear,
his...
Velamris is thinking like in the accounting numbers.
And this guy's thinking in numerology. He's looking at a plaque with his own name on it, and he's like, yeah, I ran the numbers on myself. Benjamin Hovler. That's the kind of name that's going to take you right there to the middle.
Velamris is he's definitely interested in this task for a couple of reasons, because he's definitely losing faith in not just Barnum and Bailey here, which I'm sorry,
Barnum and Hovler, ordinate of the administratum, your immediate supervisor.
Well, he's losing a lot of faith because he's looking around at these alleged accomplishments. He knows of at least the one where he's totally took my glory, or not glory, but my credit, and he's looking at these other things he's got up on the wall, and I'm just like, these don't add up. And how is he, if this were true, why is he here at this low-level posting, managing some of the lowest in the Adeptus? Why did who gave him this kind of power, and why does he think he's so much more than he is? So he's losing faith, not just in his boss, but also in the Adeptus, because he spent 6 months trying to get a hold of somebody to clarify some BS that this Magos wanted changed, even though it doesn't make sense. But he's going to do what he's told because that's what he's supposed to do. And so there's a lot of like conflicting ideas here about the Adeptus and about his boss. And he's just like, if I can get out of here without making it look like I really want to get out of here, then yes. And those are the thoughts that are going through his head. So he's just kind of waiting for I've heard you say his name like 4 or 5 times now. I'm not going to get
Barnum
it right.
and Hovler, ordinate of the Adeptus Administratum.
So he's just going to wait for Barnum to just come right out and say, do you want to do this? And he's just going to nod and smile along the way and wait for that. And when the question comes up, he's just going to pretend to consider it and mull it over. But I think by the time he leaves the office, he'll be
before that moment comes up, he takes a look at your guacamole and amasec, and he says, "You've hardly touched your guacamole and amasec."
I have no idea what this shit would taste like, so I don't know. He'll look at it as though.
Let me say this before you shit on it too much. It's probably the first fresh vegetable you've had all week.
Or longer. He'll look down and be like, as if, I think he'll play it off as like he was too engrossed in what his boss was saying, especially about his own standing with the company, as it were, that he almost forgot that he was holding on to this small glass of whatever.
It's not a small glass.
Whichever.
It's like this tall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is a veggie shake.
It is a healthy portion of guacamole and a half bottle of amasec.
This is a veggie booze smoothie. Got it. He will definitely be like, oh yeah, I was just listening to what you were saying. I'll drink down some of it.
That's what I like about you, Quineel. You listen when I talk. You may not do what I say, but you listen when I talk. And I understand. It's just because you're incompetent. You don't not do it because you're a heretic. It's just that you're bad at your job, which is fine. Not everyone can be as middle as I am.
As mid.
I said middle. I said middle.
I know. That's all I heard, though.
I meant mid when I said it. I meant mid with all of my heart. But I said middle because I'm not a Zoomer, and this is Warhammer 40K. Just like I didn't say that the sound coming out of the person's headphones earlier was lo-fi beats you can worship the God Emperor to, but that's what I meant.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, I think, I don't know if I would call it incompetence, but I'm not the one rating me.
All right. We'll get you a Chartist. We could get you out to the Archipelago in the next 6 months to a year. Bluth will take over your paperwork. Just sign here and then take everything on your desk and hand it to Bluth, okay? Hey.
He'll take the
good
paper.
Work out there. And if you fail, don't come back. We'll send someone to find you.
That doesn't sound ominous at all.
It's meant to be a threat.
I think he'll notice. He'll know that, and I think there's some of that surefire not so much surefire, that confidence that he knows he has, like winning the train. He's trying not to let it all out at once because he's like, okay, you could threaten me all you want, whatever. But he'll take whatever that form was, and he'll give it at least a good look over. He works for the Adeptus Administratum. He knows that he needs to read everything.
Yeah,
I feel like he would know that.
It's a undercover transfer request for your extended duty assignment to the Iron Archipelago, **, and other locations if required by your mission, **, in order to infiltrate the organization of Chaderius, Darkwind, **, rogue trader warranted by the High Lords of Terra, second **, troop the colors, third **, warlord warrant,
etc., ad nauseum. Yeah, he'll sign it, and then he'll go over there and give I don't know, what was his Bluth.
So Bluth is recording a video right now for communication with someone, and it's like sees you coming and says, I'm hoping to reach the family of Night Quester, family of Vivora, regarding your grandfather's paladin. He hasn't been in to check on his extended warranty in some time. He's due for his 20-year checkup before we need to go in and remove his body from the throne. We just want to make sure he's alive in there. If one of the members of the Vivora family can get back to me as soon as possible, we'll see to it that he's either alive and the Mechanicus will get to working on his Imperial Night machine, or we will return the Paladin to service by selecting one of his heirs. Thank you so much for your time. Bluth, by the time Bluth is done, you've put all of your paperwork in his inbox, and he is openly weeping.
So I imagine Bluth is the next guy.
Yeah, Bluth is the new you.
From me.
Yeah.
He probably rates a 0.1245.
We cut to 8 months later. You are on the Iron Archipelago. Sorry, it's your episode, so it's the Iron Archipelago.
Archipelago.
Pelagio. You are on CITES Beta, which is perhaps not the Administratum's name, but it is the local name for the largest asteroid that is the main Imperial Navy landing point. You can see that there are various signs everywhere located. One of them indicates that Mechanicus personnel are not tolerated anywhere on CITES Beta. Another one indicates that this area has been made safe by the Imperial Guard for Imperial citizens. Obey the local coloration codes. Green is good. Red means that you'll die if you go there. And
this is based on like atmosphere or
no, the local Xenos and heretical population with the murder and crime.
Okay.
the Iron Archipelago has a dock for Imperial personnel. It is not Imperial controlled, except through extreme force of arms.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're on the frontier, basically.
Yeah, well, you literally are on the frontier. I mean, where else would a rogue trader come home to?
Yeah, exactly.
You know that he Chaderius Darkwind's trading company has a corporate office on Cetae's Delta, which you can easily walk over there, walking down one of the chains that connects the two asteroids together. I don't know how you want to approach and infiltrate the organization, though. I'm kind of leaving this part up to you.
Well, did I get any sort of trying to think of the right word here? Did I get any sort of like point of contact or transfer order or anything like that? Like, so I just literally need to show up and apply for a job effectively is what I need to do.
That's how you want to play it. Sure.
You know, I think when we were doing like Session 0 stuff, I was thinking of Velamris being somebody in the transport delivery side of this operation. So I think what he's going to do, he's going to go and look down in the, I guess, for lack of a better thing to call it, because I don't know how exactly it would work here on this chain of asteroids. He is looking for the vehicle garage or something of that nature.
The vehicle docking bay. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just going to kind of go down, look things around. Maybe he'll do this over a day or two, just to kind of get a scope and a feel for things, to figure out who's running things, who's officially in charge, but who's the one that gets things done.
At the docking bay.
Leader. Yeah.
At the corporate headquarters, or did you want to go for the docking bay of the whole asteroid?
I'm looking for the so you have the corporate headquarters. I imagine there's some area associated with the delivery, with the trading company.
Yes.
The ones that actually either pick up or deliver what needs to be moved.
So the way things work, based on what you can see, is that the Darkwind family has a series of docks that they rent when the ships are in harbor, which isn't often, but is usually at least once a year. And those ships, their docking bay has a clear highway logistical run to their corporate headquarters. And so they can ship things to the headquarters, which can then be sent throughout this asteroid or the other asteroids, or sent back to the ship or delivered to different ships. But yeah, there is a very clear corridor that is not currently occupied by the Darkwind family that ends in a large vehicle docking bay that is still moving goods around. Just to be clear, like the trading company still does business when the ships are not here.
I think that's where he would want to go is that particular vehicle bay where it, the stuff comes from the docks, goes to the company, and then it gets dispersed out to wherever else in the asteroids or back down to the docking bay for transfer elsewhere to other systems or whatever. I think that's where he would want to go when trying to figure out what gray trade items there might be, that this might be the best way to keep an eye on things, short of watching it literally come off the ships.
I would like you to make a navigation tracking roll. Navigation is an int skill. Probably
I have navigation. I don't have tracking specifically.
That's okay. You can still roll navigation. It's just if you had tracking, you would get it towards this. 2 degrees of success. You spent 2 days kind of semi-casually observing the area, circling it, making notes, literally almost like a detective pulling out a piece of paper, or maybe even you've got a little pad you're doing on.
I have a little data slate.
Data slate, yeah. You're tracking vehicles entering and leaving, and then sometimes you follow them through the city to see where they're going, and then follow them back, and then track another vehicle and another one. There is a lot going on here. They're definitely bringing in Imperial Guard munitions and Imperial Navy personnel. And They're doing a lot of trade with the Leagues of Votan, the squats. The Warhammer 40K version of dwarves. They're sometimes sanctioned, sometimes unsanctioned members of the Imperium. It's never really clear whether it's legal to have them around or not. They were separated from humanity for some time and basically formed a sort of insectoid hive mind dwarf species version of humanity that still has some of the old technology of the eldest days, the dark age of the Imperium, that is very high technology level. He definitely appears to be doing some trade with them, and also with infractionists, which is a polite way of saying criminals.
Criminals, yeah.
There are definitely people who you're going to have to tell me how close you want to get to this, but his trading company is taking vehicles from his corporate area and taking it to a unsanctioned dock on Cites Delta that is basically just a hole in space that someone has dug out of the asteroid, definitely illegally. There's no Imperial markings on this thing at all. And
So this is literally a hole in the ground that they're using as a secret meetup.
Yeah, they literally dock like junker ships and throw goods down into it, and then it goes away to other like living habitats or other asteroids. You have to tell me if you want to get close to this operation, because these are real gangsters. They're real bad criminals. So this is just what you like. If you want to follow these goods to see where they go to, you're going to need to do a lot more work. That's very dangerous.
I think he's not really trying to do all that just yet. I think what he's looking for mostly is to get an idea of what is going on, just a generic, first pass, and then figure out who to get a hold of so that he can effectively be hired on with the company, because that's ultimately what he needs to do. He needs to get into the company, as well as, of course, figuring out where everything goes. But he feels like getting into this transportation hub, for lack of a better thing to call it, is a good way to get an eyes on things, and then he can start working his way through the various networks of this webbiness. I don't know if webbiness is a good word for it.
I would like you to make a roll to talk to somebody, a rapport fellowship roll.
Rapport. Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Do I get any sort of bonuses, maybe?
Well, because they aren't high status, you don't get the disadvantage on rapport tests.
Well, that's good because, right. With a 24 in rapport because of a very low fellowship score.
Yeah, great. throw those dice for me, buddy.
Yeah. Well, no, I got a -3.
Oh, hey. You have fate.
Yeah, I do. I do have 2. How do I get fate points back?
At the end of the session, they reset.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and use
They don't reset if you burn them, but burning them is like keeps you from dying.
Yeah, that's why
they're very serious when you burn them.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get a better roll here, but we'll try one more time. Yep.
It was much worse. It was a -6.
Yeah, I think this is the area where things like roll or go for it is why I don't go for them. Anyway,
you head back to the vehicle docking bay. You start talking to one of the security guards and inquire, like, how can I work for this company? And the guy is just like, hey, buzz off. And you're like, no, really, I need a job here. And he's just like, that's it. You're coming with me. And he cuffs you and starts bringing you into the building.
That's a start.
He sits you down in a room with like a white table, cuffs you to a bar in the center of the table. It actually has like a sink and several cabinets and like a small I don't know if Warhammer 40K has microwaves. I have to assume that it does.
They probably just don't call it a microwave.
Yeah, it's got a microwave and a little like
food restitution or reconstitution box.
You're on the same page with me, and like a little refrigerator. It looks like a break room.
I was just gonna say this sounds. It
is a break room, but it's also a place that you can chain a criminal to a table, which they do. So your left arm is chained to that table.
Okay.
And the guard's like looking you over. He's checking you to see if you have an identification. Do you still have your identification on you that shows that you're a member of the Adeptus Administratum?
I imagine I would, unless I was given new identification, but I know we didn't do any like fake ID.
I'm willing to say if you want to forge something, we can do the flashback right now, leverage style.
Leverage style.
Why are you laughing at that? I love leverage. Everybody.
No, I'm laughing at the flashback idea. And then remembering that Leverage was a TV show that I never watched.
Wow.
No, I don't watch a lot of TV.
That's okay. Leverage is worth watching.
I feel like he would, I feel like maybe just not necessarily incompetence, but maybe just lack of experience in this sort of thing. He wouldn't necessarily have a full new identity created or forged or what have you. I think he would just go with
Velamris Quineel. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Velamris Quineel. I used to work for the Administratum, and I'm trying to get a job here.
He's got your ID. He tosses it back on the table, and he says, "All right, Mr. Quineel, someone will be in shortly to deal with you."
Excellent. And I think he's got this like he's kind of almost got a silver linings mentality here. He's just like, well, I'm getting literally closer to what I need.
About 15 minutes later, a man walks in. He's wearing like a nice sports coat. I don't want to say it's like a trench coat. It is fabric, and it reaches down to like his knees. He's got on like riding boots, nice pants, and like a silk shirt. He's carrying like a takeout bag, and he puts it on the table and he says, "Are you here for the interviews?"
Yes.
Oh, me too. Hey, listen.
I don't know why I have this bracelet though.
Oh. I can't help you with that, but hey, listen. When I got lunch, they gave me too much. You want some of this?
Sure.
Yeah, so he pulls out like 2 bowls of hot soup, and then he pulls out like little containers of meat so that you can put the meat in the bowl and it'll cook very quickly in the bowl.
Yeah.
And then like a set of like cucumber and egg sandwiches between the two of you. It's like, hey, listen, just take in here. This happens sometimes around here. The local restaurants are kind of generous.
Well, that's always appreciative. Free food and all.
What are you applying for?
I was hoping to get something in transportation.
Oh,
Delivery.
Interesting.
I don't know what you guys call it here exactly, but put me in front of a truck. Or not in front of it. I meant in the front of a truck.
Kind of in transportation myself as well.
Oh, what do you do?
Right now, I move stuff from one place to another.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not here to compete against you. Yeah. You just gave me free food. I might feel bad.
He laughs and he says, "I'm sure there's more than enough work for the two of us."
I mean, have you seen this universe? Of course there is.
What kind of experience do you have in transportation? I know how to fly a ship myself, but
I don't really do a whole lot of that. I want to be able to have some mobility. I was kind of stuck in an office job for a few years, and now that I'm not in that position anymore, I was hoping to find something more. Maybe there's a pun in here, but freewheeling.
Yeah, he's quietly tipping his bowl back, and he's just like, the right amount of salt in this, just perfect.
It is good. It is, and he's digging in right along as best he can with one hand.
This is real food, real meat. The vegetables are fresh and delicious. They are soaking in that broth.
And most importantly, not corpse starch.
I mean, this is a great meal.
Yeah,
right? For the Warhammer 40K universe. It's not like it's void braised eel, but it's a good meal.
Nice callback.
Yeah, don't worry. The other 2 episodes are filled with callbacks. So, you're not very good at driving trucks, but you want to spend time by yourself.
I mean, it's what I want to do, and sometimes you can only read a book so much before you have to go out and do it to learn more.
It's good to have a dream and to do what you want to do. I'll agree with that for sure.
I've been told I try too much and need to do more, so here I am.
Interesting. Where'd you work before this?
I cannot say the name of this planet. Escuchax was my homeworld. I don't know how I keep getting these weird words.
You're a mechanicus then?
No.
No?
I was, like I said, I was office work. So.
Oh, the Adeptus Terra, your administration.
Adeptus Administratum. But yes.
Yeah, sure.
I was trying not to use that word. My boss and I didn't see eye to eye.
Interesting. So you moved half a sector away to get a job driving trucks on a rock.
I mean, when you phrase it like that, it sounds ridiculous. But yes,
it does
here I am.
sound unusual.
It does sound.
You should listen. The eggs are so moist. You have to get at one before, and he picks up one of the egg and cucumber sandwiches and just starts.
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna reach right over there, break off a hunk, pop in his mouth.
So let's say you get the job. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
God, I hate that question. Maybe managing a group of different drivers and overseeing, the maintenance on the vehicles. I'm not going to tell I don't know if it would be a tech priest. It'd probably be something a little bit lower than that would be working on the vehicles.
I don't think tech priests work for the Darkwind organization.
Well, whoever's doing the turning of wrenches and whatnot, maybe overseeing that as part of a, I'm going to say the word fleet, but whenever I say that in this context, people always misunderstand. I mean the group of vehicles, not specifically a starship.
Yeah, I got
you. Overseeing the fleet of delivery vehicles and making sure they get to where they have to go.
I agree. Overseeing a fleet can be very difficult. You'd be surprised about the logistical challenges.
I'm sure there are many. Some that I probably can't even think of right now. But yeah, I think that's where I would like to be in the next handful of years or so.
Interesting.
Being one of the guys in charge.
How do you feel about acquisitions?
I think I would have to have a definition of what you mean exactly by acquisitions.
I feel like that answers that question solidly. Any good with firearms?
I know my way around a breech and a muzzle. He's going to leave that answer specifically vague to see what they might know about firearms. I think with my long gun specialization, I think I have a decent amount of understanding of how ballistics work. Other than the fact that my gun jammed, but we're going to blame that on the particulate matter of Escuchax.
Hey, listen, there was a 96 to a 100. The gun jams. Okay, that's how it works. It's a 1 in 20 chance. It could literally happen to anybody. It could happen to a space marine. It could happen to an Adeptus Custodes. It could happen at literally any fucking time. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It could happen to anyone. It did happen to you on basically your first roll, but.
Hey, but I'm not shooting myself in the face, so.
You're not Grimdark Jansian, huh? Okay.
No, I'm just gonna jam.
He looks over you and sees that you say that you know the difference between a breech and a muzzle. You're quiet about it. You're not really bragging, but you look like you know what you're talking about. And he quietly nods to himself. He says, "Okay, interesting." How are you at learning new things?
Learning is growing. I feel like the God Emperor wouldn't really want me to learn more than what I need to know. But what I need to know, I'm not afraid to learn.
So you believe the God Emperor guides your life, your fate?
If not him, then who else would it be?
Interesting. No interest in going beyond the edge of the known universe to the Halo stars, huh?
If
You're
that's
okay with an outpost like this?
If that's... I feel as though my path is laid before me with a number of challenges meant to strengthen me, embolden me. And if that is my case, that I end up in the Halo Stars, or if I end up in the Core, it is what it will be.
Okay. He reaches across the table and undoes your restraint, then moves around the table to stand up and shake hands with you. He'll do.
I think Velamris is sitting there going with, I had a feeling. But he doesn't want to tip that hand. He doesn't want to tip that hand. So he'll shake his hand and kind of throw on a bit of a somewhat surprised look. Maybe a little too forced, perhaps?
Yeah, he just says, you don't have to hide it. You're an intelligent man.
I certainly try.
My friends call me Chaz. Or Skip.
Chaz or Skip? Do you
Go
have a
for Skipper.
preference? Do you have a preference for which one you like?
Lord Captain.
My lord. Is this so? At this point, like, he is definitely legitimately confused.
Lord Captain Chaderius Darkwind.
That is a irony, if ever there was one, my lord.
Sure.
Would you believe that I have been sent here to undermine you?
There's a lot of people that want to undermine me. You're going to have to be far more specific about that, young man.
Well, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't know my former boss,
Benjamin
Barnum Bailey.
Hoffler.
Well,
Why wouldn't
okay,
I know him?
I stand corrected. Well, I mean, he is on the other side of the sector, and he is a...
We keep pretty good records. We have your ID.
Fair enough.
Listen, if you want to try to undermine me while a member of my organization, I mean, you already shook my hand, so by local law, you're already working for me.
Let me
If
be
you
clear,
can get
if I
away
may.
with it and my internal auditors don't catch you, I want to know how you did it.
Well, I want to be clear then, my lord. I'm not actually... So I was sent here. Now I got to think about this, because I don't know what kind of relationship he might have with Barnum and Bailey.
He looks at you and he puts his hands on your shoulders. He is a man, he looks like he's in his mid to late 30s. He's got sort of somewhere between like sandy brown and like light blonde hair and curls, like a full beard, mustache, gunmetal blue eyes. His face is smiling. He's actually been smiling most of the time he's talked to you. But when you look in his eyes, you see dead, calculating eyes that are not smiling at you. They have that sort of crow's feet crinkle. His cheeks are up. His mouth is in a smile, but his eyes are observing you in the way that a predator, like a shark, would observe something it's about to kill. He puts his hands on your shoulders and he says, look, it's this simple. No man can serve two masters. But you and I, we serve the same master, the master of mankind. If you feel that I've done something wrong, something against the Imperium here in the Iron Archipelago within the Imperium, and you feel it's your duty to turn me in, then you should do that. And if you think you can steal from my company and successfully get away with it, then you should. Every man should seize their destiny for themselves that they have been granted by the master of mankind.
I think at this point...
You're a man of service. I see it in you. You want to do something with your life. And I want to give you that opportunity. And he's like starting to squeeze your shoulders really hard, and then he lets off and he says, do you have any questions for me? My time's very valuable, of course, but I always make it a habit to check in on new hires.
Well, not so much questions, but you're right. Obviously, you're the Lord Captain, and I'm just the low guy here, but destiny, seizing our own path. You won't have to worry about anything from me, my lord. I think whatever it was that Barnaman. Oh wait, I think I got it right. Whatever it is that Barnaman was suspecting or expected me to do won't be a concern.
All right. Well, show up tomorrow morning. We'll get you set up with a apartment tonight. He pulls out like a business card and hands it to you. Talk to this guy. They'll get you set up. We'll get you salaried. First month's pay as a bonus up front sort of deal. So you don't look well. You definitely should take some time to get yourself sorted. Come in tomorrow morning. We'll have someone get you around the docks, and then we'll get you a desk job for a little while you get sorted out.
He'll look over at the
maintenance, huh?
The remnants of the food, and it'll just be like, I think if I eat more of that, I think I'll be fine.
Okay.
If you said maintenance something?
Yeah. Tomorrow. You said you were interested in maintaining the vehicles. Tomorrow morning, show up at the vehicle docking bay, and we'll make sure someone takes you around and shows you how to work all the vehicles. Of course, we're not going to let you work on the vehicles for a few months until we're certain you know what you're doing, but we'll walk you through what all the vehicles are tomorrow. And then we'll have you start hitting the desk, getting some paperwork done. I assume you're quite good at that. And learning the operational ropes.
Thank you, my lord. That'll do just fine.
Do good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. He leaves the room. The security guard is waiting for you outside, and he just says, "Come with me, sir. We'll get you over to corporate housing."
Lead the way.
As you're walking, he hands you a voxhaler, and he says, "The number on the card there. You'll want to speak with the individual."
Okay.
So he's gone from the guy that dragged you in here to he's now escorting you as an employee. Yeah.
Yeah. What a whirlwind tour, as it were.
I like how you immediately betrayed your boss.
Oh, yeah, I had every intention
The administratum sent me here. I'm betraying them for you.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think he's had plenty of time to think about it, you know? I think he feels like, and he may have done a little bit of research and tried to get a hold of whatever information he could about Darkwind on his own, you know, as far as like prep for how to infiltrate or what have you. And maybe he saw some stuff that Darkwind was doing that was more in line with his own thoughts, or maybe in opposition to his feelings about Barnaman and the Adeptus in the first place. You know, again, going back to all those pictures and plaques and whatever on the wall, and just sitting there going, this dude literally took the credit for all the hard work I did. And I wonder how many other pictures and plaques and whatnot up here are representative of other people he's taken, of whose credit they've taken or he's taken. So, yeah, I think he definitely made that decision a while back. One, just to get out of there, which is why he took the job. And now he's here. And in that time, screw those guys, and that guy in particular. Obviously, the administratum is not somebody to screw over,
in particular.
But yeah. So I guess I'm calling the name on the business card.
Yes, but that's also where we're going to end the episode.
I was wondering if that was where we were at. Okay.
Well, how'd you feel about this one?
Well, I mean, my dice rolling is about on par. Some good ones and some absolute horrible ones. And whenever I reroll, it's worse. Which is why in Blood Bowl, I don't have rerolls. I like where it's going. Yeah, I don't have anything specific or more specific. I think it was good. It was good. Very curious to see about where Velamris is going to end up in relation to the other two. And also I got to work in that connection between, wait a minute, I've been trying to get a hold of you fuckers for 7 or 8 months, like a year now.
That's your extended warranty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love how that was that night, the Paladin extended warranty shit. Poor Lucht.
But that's how it works. The Adeptus Mechanicus maintain the Quester Knights.
Yeah. We're just trying to find out what's going on with the guy inside. Is he still alive?
Haven't heard
He
from him.
hasn't checked in.
All right. Well, friends, Patreon will get this a week early. And if you're not one of our vaunted, highfalutin Patreon people, you're watching this on YouTube. We got a little bit of editing to do that I'm about to go crack in on. So, you know, the sooner I get it done, the sooner all of you can watch this. And in the new year of 2024, you can check out the first real episode of Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago, where the gang's all together for their first day of work as a team. What fun that will be.
Oh, yeah. That'll be interesting. Chaderius Darkwind.
Chaderius Darkwind. Yep.